How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you here?
That's difficult to answer.
Eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital.
That's difficult to answer.
the end? There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final time. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final
What's up, everyone? What's up? What's up? We're not even going to do an extended introduction today because I'm late. I'm late, but I actually do have a very good reason for being late. Obviously, I'm never late. It's my stream. I'm always right on time. But in reality, I might have been late. And the reason that I was late is because I was on the phone with the Portland police. So I feel like, oh, hang on, I just did something weird that I shouldn't have done. Hang on. There we go. So I feel like I have a pretty good excuse for being late because I was actually on the phone with the cops. Now you might ask what happened. Well, here is the thing, guys. Here is the thing. I cannot adequately express the level of nonsense and bullshit that I have been subjected to over the past couple weeks, courtesy of the MAGA retards on Twitter. Now, the thing of it is, and I always need to be clear about saying this because the MAGA retards don't understand this, but there are smart people that consider themselves to be MAGA. And I always need to explain, when I say MAGA retards, I'm not talking about all MAGA people. I am talking about MAGA people who are acting retarded. And in the last week and a half, I have had more physical threats of violence from MAGA people than I have ever had from Antifa. I have been told by MAGA people that if I go back to Portland again, they are going to curb stomp me. I have had MAGA people spreading horrendous lies about me and my husband, by the way. And by the way, it's my 14-year wedding anniversary. And the MAGA retards took advantage of me making a post about my 14-year wedding anniversary today. And they said, oh, your husband's a pedophile. I said, no. So the MAGA retards don't do any research. They have no clue what they're talking about. They're spreading lies, like really horrible, horrendous lies about my husband. Now, people have been doing this stuff for years, so it shouldn't have even surprised me that the MAGA retards would glom onto that. The MAGA retards are trying to cancel my nonprofit, where the Center for Left-Wing Studies, because they don't understand that we're trying to map out the modern activist left, and they're too retarded to think about the implications of this. Hang on, I'm going to cough. Well, do you know how hard it is to sue for defamation, and do you know how expensive it is? Harry, do you want to write me a check for at least $10,000 just to get that lawsuit started right now? Because don't think I haven't had multiple conversations with lawyers over the years about this sort of stuff. Do you have any ungodly idea how expensive and difficult it is to sue someone for defamation? I'm going to guess not. The MAGA retards are running around the internet telling everyone I'm secret Antifa, and the MAGA retards are just not shutting the fuck up and going away. Now, in my world, I would just like the MAGA retards to literally shut the fuck up and leave me alone and go away. That's all I want. But you know what? The MAGA retards don't understand this little thing called voluntary association. The MAGA retards think that they are entitled to every single day of my life bullying and harassing me and trying to destroy everything I'm doing and making threats of physical violence. By the way, they believe they're entitled to make threats of physical violence because I wear the color black. They believe that they are entitled to make the threat of physical violence because I say words that they don't like. And the reason that all this is going on is the MAGA retards from Portland were trying to shill this story about Chandler, who is one of the leftist activists in Portland. They're trying to shill this story about Chandler choking out, allegedly, a blonde whore that's sleeping with all the MAGA influencers. And I didn't go along with it. So the MAGA retards had this whole plan where they were going to do this internet campaign to say Chandler choked out the blonde bimbo. And I said, no, Chandler didn't choke out the blonde bimbo. Chandler pulled the blonde bimbo off his girlfriend when his girlfriend and the blonde bimbo got into a physical fight outside the ICE facility. It happened right in front of me. And because I refused to go along with their narrative, all of this is happening because I'm refusing to go along with their bullshit narrative. Okay. And so finally, I got sick of it today. And I said, you know what? In reality, in actual reality, I was physically assaulted by one of those MAGA retards outside of the Portland ICE facility. And I'm getting sick of this shit. And perhaps I sent the wrong message because, you know, I thought I was just being a good person when I didn't call the police after I was physically assaulted outside of the MAGA facility. I thought that I was being a good person. I was like, you know what? I don't actually want to drag the cops into it. I wasn't physically hurt. Like, I don't like the cops. I think the cops are an organized gang. I don't like getting the cops involved in things as a general fucking rule unless I absolutely have to. But the thing of it is I've experienced so much bullshit and nonsense from the MAGA retards that it kind of got to the point. Well, what you're missing is the blonde whore was fist fighting with his girlfriend. So he pulled the blonde whore off his girlfriend when the blonde whore was fist fighting with the girlfriend. I don't know what's so difficult for you idiots to understand. I really, really don't. Well, if she was your daughter, then you should call her a whore and you should tell her to stop trying to sleep with influencers for clout. If she was your daughter, you should be fucking ashamed, because the fact of the matter is that blonde bimbo is running around the ICE facility trying to sleep with every MAGA influencer she can for clout and fame. So if she was actually your daughter, I would hope you would take her aside and give her a good stern talking to about maybe sleeping to the top isn't your best strategy. Maybe you shouldn't be doing that. Maybe you should find another way to be successful in the world. That's just my opinion, though. If you are proud to have a whore as a daughter, that's your business, bro. That's not my business. But for me, I as a woman who has never been able to do that shit and never would do that shit, like, I actually do find it kind of personally offensive when women get things just because they're giving someone a blowjob. Like, I on a personal level, as someone who works very, very hard for everything I have a problem when women sleep their way to the fucking top. So maybe that's just me. Anyway, that's beside the point. So I've had to deal with all this bullshit over the past week and a half. And finally today I was like, perhaps I sent the wrong message by not reporting what happened to me to the cops. Perhaps this was actually my mistake, because I do like to take responsibility for my actions. Perhaps I should have just called the cops on the MAGA retard the first time. And perhaps had I done that, there would be a lot less bullshit and nonsense in this whole thing. Oh, you remember it, bro? You remember it? I was standing right in front of it. Now I'm going to put you in a timeout because you're fucking annoying. And I'm trying to talk here. I remember the fight because I watched it on the internet. I remember the fight because I was standing physically right in front of it and recorded it. So today I called the Portland police and I said, hey, I have video of this guy physically hitting me outside of the ice facility. And I just had a nice little chat with the police officer. And what I found out is that the MAGA retard who actually physically hit me tried to get me arrested a week and a half ago when it happened. So the MAGA retards are trying to get me arrested. The and by the way, the Portland police have absolutely no interest in arresting me, like at all, in any way. But the Portland police officer that I spoke to knew exactly who I was talking about because the MAGA retard tried to get me arrested a week and a half ago. So that's a good little bit of information for me, isn't that? Isn't that interesting? A MAGA retard tried to get me arrested after he hit me outside of the Portland ice facility. Now, thankfully, Portland police officers have eyes, and whatever evidence that he sent them, which I'm not actually sure was much, that his claim was that I hit him. No, that's not actually what the video evidence shows. And so the Portland police were completely unconvinced by his argument. They have no desire to arrest me at all. But isn't that funny? Isn't that funny that a random guy just shows up, starts acting like an unhinged lunatic outside of the Portland ice facility, and is trying to get, I'm sorry, I mean, I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but I am actually one of the most successful independent journalists in the country covering the far left. Yeah, like everyone understands that, right? I am one of the most successful independent journalists in the country and have been for years covering the far left. And a drunk MAGA idiot shows up and acts like an unhinged idiot and actually physically assaults me. And then he tries to get me arrested after he's on video physically assaulting me. Does this seem suspicious to anyone else? Because it kind of seems suspicious to me. Listen, what I told the Portland police, and listen, I kind of feel bad that the police even got dragged into this, to be honest, because originally it was not my intention to drag the police into this because I don't actually like doing that shit. I really, really don't. But after so much bullshit and nonsense, I felt like I was put into a position where I had to get my story on the record. And what I told the police is, I'm going to send you the video. You can decide what to do about it. And that's, I wanted my side documented for the record. And if I ever go back there, I will try to my level best to stay away from him if he comes around again. And the police officer I spoke to was actually very nice. And, you know, you could tell he was like, you could tell the police officer is kind of like over all this bullshit with fake reports being made to the police. So I tried to be very apologetic and be like, listen, man, I didn't even want to talk to you. I didn't want to waste your time with this, but I feel like I have to, because of all the bullshit and nonsense that's ensued since then. So so my side of the story has now been registered with the police. The police are going to get the evidence. The police officer just texted me literally as I was going live to send me a place to send the evidence. So I'm going to send him the video of what happened, and they're going to do what they're going to do. And if I, had my way, I would make the decision to press charges. But that's not my call, man. It really is the police. They have to decide what they want to do with it. They have to decide whether it's worth their time or effort. And I could totally understand if they decided it wasn't worth their time and effort. So who knows what's going to happen with that? But what I can confirm is that I'm not getting arrested because the police are not an unhinged MAGA loser. So the police actually looked at whatever he sent and said, yeah, there's nothing here, bro. She didn't actually do anything to you. You're just behaving like a fucking lunatic and wasting our time. And so that happened. But also this is not the only thing. It's funny because of course I met up with Honey Badger Mom when I was in Portland. And just in case, because of course the MAGA retards on Twitter are trying to say that I am the problem, that I'm the only problem, because of course the MAGA retards can't be guilty of anything. They are above all reproach according to them. But it's a funny thing because I was looking at Honey Badger Mom's Twitter feed earlier today. And Honey Badger Mom said a couple interesting things on Twitter today. She said, well, leftists have hated me for a long time. Well, but there's been a recent rash of insanity from people on the right. I don't know what that's about. And she also said, I mildly criticized Patriot Corner. Those are the MAGA retards. I said Tommy was provocative and they came after me. I said once on a live that I wasn't going to check on Tommy after people demanded I do so. They got so mad. So it kind of seems as though the MAGA retards are not only going after me, they're also going after Honey Badger Mom, who has been one of the people that's been documenting outside the Portland ICE facility since the very beginning. She was out there when she wasn't getting a lot of attention for what she was doing. She has been out there since day one. But the clout chasing MAGA retards are showing up, and they're actually attacking the OG fucking independent journalists that are out there documenting what's going on outside the ICE facility. The ICE facility wouldn't be getting nearly as much attention as it is right now if it wasn't for people like her and Katie Davis Court going out there when it wasn't popular, when you weren't getting clout for doing it, and just documenting what was going on. And of course, because the MAGA retards are going to retard, they aren't smart enough to understand this. And so now they're attacking independent journalists because she's not taking their side either. This is reality, guys. And you know what? I finally got real pissed about it yesterday. Because I've had a couple interactions with this one guy. He goes by I'm Fired Up on Twitter. His name is Chad. And I got to say, it's a shame, really, because he was very nice to me in Portland. When maybe he thought he could use me for audience, or maybe he thought he could use me for clout or something like that. He was very nice to me in Portland. And then this guy started lying about me on Twitter, and that's when I had enough. And I just want to point this out because I actually recorded a video. I released it on Twitter yesterday. I didn't release it on YouTube because I wanted to come and talk to you guys about it. I'm done lying for these people, and I'm done covering up for these people, and I'm done pretending that these people are innocent. The MAGA retards are outside of the Portland ICE facility trying to provoke fights with Antifa in order to create content for the internet, because when MAGA goes and provokes fights with Antifa, they go viral and they get attention on the internet. And I actually recorded this happening live with that guy specifically. And I want to show you guys this because you guys have seen this, right? This is, let me just get this set up so I can actually show this to you guys. This is the video that I posted on my YouTube account, that I posted on my Twitter account. And we are going to be getting to Ben Shapiro and Nick Fuentes, guys. If you're waiting for that, well, I'm doing an intro right now. I have some other stuff I want to talk about. We will be doing the grand finale of Ben Shapiro and Nick Fuentes, probably in about 20 minutes, maybe less than that. But just give me 10 to 20 minutes to talk, okay? Because I want to show some stuff here. I posted this video of basically this was a fight that happened outside of the Portland ICE facility, and I recorded this whole thing. This is the full unedited video, okay, that I have. Now, there may be other videos on the internet, but this is my personal video that I recorded. This is of a fight that happened between MAGA and Antifa outside of the Portland ICE facility, and then the ICE people shot pepper balls, and that's what happened. So I just want to play the first part of this video, and then we're going to talk about what's in it, and then I'm going to make the point that I want to make. Okay, so watch the first part of this video with the fight, and we're talking about this blonde guy right here, this big blonde guy. I just want everyone to pay very close attention to this.
Fuck you! I told you, touch your mother.
Hang on. I need to change the sound setting. Hang on 1 second. Sorry, I should have changed this earlier. There are so many sound settings I need to change. All right, again.
Fuck you! I told you, touch your motherfucking skin, I'm gonna make you fucking wear it. What are you gonna do? Fucking swing, motherfucker.
You flexing up?
Swing on me, motherfucker.
You swing with your boyfriend?
Yeah, fucking scared, motherfucker, aren't you?
Yeah, they're flexing up.
Fucking come make my fucking day. I will pick you up and play you like a fucking flower.
Give me a reason, reject.
Now hang on to your girlfriend, motherfucker. I told you, fuck you with your umbrella.
Oh, look, we got a MAGA retard in the chat. Oh no, the MAGA retards are in the chat spreading lies about my husband. Because this is the good, upstanding people that the MAGA retards are, guys. This is the good, upstanding people that the MAGA retards are. Coming into my chat on my 14-year wedding anniversary to spread lies about my husband, who has literally never been charged or convicted of any crime and certainly not having anything to do with children. My husband doesn't like children. My husband doesn't want children. That is one of the basis of the appeal of the relationship with my husband, because I don't want kids either. But this is what the MAGA retards have been doing. Spreading lies about my husband because they're such good people. Anyway, continuing the video.
What up on people? This is how you come out of AD club and your ass whooped. Get your boy. Or it's gonna get...
Just wait in my chat and show him worth killing. Let's kill him worth.
Let's go. Come on.
I know you will say
Do it. Hold it. Do it. Come on. Watch your head.
Hey, take that helmet off! Take that helmet off! Take that helmet off! Yeah, look at him run like a fucking...
Get the fuck away.
Well, Nick isn't gay, so, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Stop it.
All right, so that's basically what happened. This was about a week and a little. This was not this past. This was not this last Friday, but the Friday before at the Portland ICE facility. So this was about a week and a half ago. So I want to point something out. We're gonna go through this again. This is an instance, and I want to be very, very clear about this. I'm not on Antifa's side. I'm not on Antifa's side at all. My body of work speaks for itself. I was there to research and observe what was going on. But I'm also not on MAGA's side. And I'm certainly not on the side of MAGA people that have been attacking me, trying to destroy my work, falsely reporting me to the police for things I didn't do, threatening to curb stomp me if I ever go back to Portland, trying to get my nonprofit canceled, being a general pain in the ass on the internet. I am certainly not on the side of those people. I'll tell you that right now. Thanks, Chris Baker, for becoming a member of the channel. I really appreciate it. And the thing I have held back on up until now, because now these retards have done pissed me off. One of the things I didn't say when I was in Portland, and I didn't say right after I came back, is that one of the things that I absolutely observed is that MAGA people were instigating fights with Antifa to create content on the internet. You might not like that reality, but that is the reality. So I just want to go slowly through this video again, because I knew this was happening literally as I was standing there recording it. I don't believe in the lesser of two evils. The lesser of two evils is still fucking evil. So you're still voting for fucking evil. You're still supporting evil. If you want to support evil, that's your business. But I won't do it. This is an example of watch this video again and try to detach yourself from being emotionally invested in hating Antifa. None of us like Antifa here, okay? None of us like the far left here. But whether or not you like someone does not change the reality of what happened. What you are going to see here is Antifa was standing in the middle of the street. The blonde MAGA retard comes up. He is holding a video camera. Other people are holding a video camera around him. And he is the one that is trying to provoke the physical fight with Antifa. And you'll see Antifa's going like this. The Antifa guy that ended up getting beat up in this fight, he was going like this. He was going like this. He was trying to de-escalate. He was not intensifying the fight. He was not feeding into it. He was trying to de-escalate the fight. And again, I'm not on his side. I'm not on his team. I have other issues to take up with him. But the fact is that the blonde MAGA person was the aggressor that was trying to provoke the fight because he was trying to create content on the internet, and Antifa was going like this. I want you to watch again.
Fuck you! I told you, touch your motherfucking skin, I'm gonna make you fucking wear it. What are you gonna do? Fucking swing, motherfucker.
You flexing up?
Swing on me, motherfucker.
Swing with your boyfriend?
Yeah, fucking scared, motherfucker, aren't you?
Yeah, flexing up.
Fucking come make my fucking day. I will pick you up and play you like a fucking flower.
See, and this is the MAGA retard attitude. This is, you get what you give. No, MAGA retard. No. We do not condone provoking fights for fucking internet content. Antifa is not the one provoking the fight here. The MAGA retards are the one provoking the fight to go viral on the internet, to take advantage of retarded people like you who give them money every single fucking time they do this shit. Again, watch what's going on.
Hang on to your girlfriend, motherfucker. I told you to fuck you with your umbrella. Keep following up on people. This is how you come out of AD club and your ass whooped. Get your boy, or it's gonna be...
The Antifa people aren't saying anything. He's got his hands up going like, they're not even saying anything. You're about to see him go like this. And now what's going to happen is the MAGA retard is going to hand his camera to someone else to have him film him. And he's going to get in a boxing position and continue to physically threaten them. And the Antifa people are going to be going like this. It's the MAGA retard provoking this, with the Antifa people going, don't.
Watch,
look.
We're killing worse. I know you will say
Come on.
And I want to point, hang on, I want to point this out too. Okay. You guys see the umbrella? That's right here. Obviously, we know that Antifa uses umbrellas as weapons. Antifa wasn't really filming. They weren't really filming. It was almost all MAGA people who were filming. There were barely any left-wing people filming. So you guys see the umbrella right here. We know that Antifa uses umbrellas as weapons, but when Antifa uses an umbrella as a weapon, they do it like a forward-facing thing, like they're pointing the umbrella at you, or they're trying to prevent you from recording them or things like that. What you're going to see is the umbrella flies backwards. The reason the umbrella flew backwards is because another MAGA person came up behind Antifa and grabbed the umbrella. Uh-oh. I agree with you 100%. They're just making content, but to most of us, it's just a process. So you retards think that you can go and provoke fights with other people, and that's okay? I'm very sorry, bro. I got to put you in another timeout. That's one of the most retard things you said yet. If you're going to be on my channel, bro, you got to be a lot less stupid than this. You really do. We have no respect for people who do this bullshit here. You are causing the problems. Stop being an idiot on my channel. So what you're going to see is the umbrella is about to fly backwards because what was happening at the Portland ICE facility is all of the MAGA people had a game. They had a game, and they were actually keeping score about how many of Antifa's umbrellas they broke. So there was a little competition about who gets to break the most umbrellas. So what you're going to see is a MAGA person is going to go up behind the Antifa guy, grab the umbrella from behind, and the umbrella is going to go flying backwards. Again, not because the MAGA person was trying to defend themselves, but because the MAGA people here are the aggressors. Watch.
Get your boy, or it's gonna be...
You just went in my chat. It's killing worse.
Come on.
I know you will say
There's the MAGA person grabbing the umbrella. Right there. The MAGA person. Yeah, well, Nick Sorter was doing the game, but Nick Sorter wasn't involved in this. Nick Sorter had nothing to do with this. You can see MAGA. He's even wearing a MAGA fucking cape. The guy who grabbed the umbrella is wearing a MAGA cape. They're doing this for content. Just watch one more time. We'll go back. Grabs the umbrella. Well, that's an interesting question. Let's get to that. Well, I'm going to put a star on that one. That's an interesting question. Because the fact of the matter is these guys were live streaming the entire time. So there is footage out there of what happened before this. Now, I don't have that footage because I didn't record it. I am playing you the full extent of the footage that I have. But there is footage that exists of what happened before this, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this. It's called abusive language. Okay, so we have a MAGA retard in my chat who really believes that words are violence. Where have I heard that before, MAGA retards? Where have I heard that words are violence before? Does anyone in the chat, words are violence? Is silence also violence, MAGA retards? Where have we heard that before? Is it, do you see Cam involved in this fight? Is Cam Higby involved in this fight at all? Oh, wait, so that's irrelevant, isn't it? So MAGA people have now gone full fucking I'm very sorry. You're far too stupid to be on my channel. I have to permanently ban you. I'm sure you understand. If you are coming onto my channel and you're saying words are violence, and if you say words I don't like, then I get to physically assault you, you are far too stupid to be on my channel. You're a leftist. You need to go watch MSNBC or something because you sure as hell don't belong here. MAGA retard grabs the umbrella, and Antifa tries to grab it back.
Take that helmet off!
And then another guy came in, and I'll tell you guys, the MAGA guy who came in to try to grab the Antifa guy's helmet, that guy came up to me explicitly. And he told me that the only reason he was at the ICE facility, and he wears a mask over his face, he told me the only reason he was at the ICE facility was he purposefully wanted to physically fight with Antifa because he was working out his aggression by physically fighting with Antifa. So now the guy you see that is about to tackle the Antifa person, he actually told me that his only goal there was to provoke physical fights with Antifa.
Come on. Watch your head.
Hey, take that helmet off! Take that helmet off! Take that helmet off! Yeah, look at him run like a fucking...
That guy. Cameras all over the place. So, and now he's like, guys, let's stop. He was the one that provoked the fight in the fucking first place. They provoked the fight in the fucking first place. That's what happened. And that has happened over and over and over again. This is not even the only time I saw it. I am old enough to remember when a mob of MAGA people showed up at Chandler's house at 1 a.m. when Chandler was sleeping in bed. Now, again, we don't have to like Chandler here. We don't have... No. Cam was not involved in this, bro. Cam was filming it right here. Does Cam look like he has his phone broken? Did Cam look like he was instigating the MAGA people? Cam Higby was actually doing a good job out there. I have nothing bad to say about Cam Higby, and I didn't even like Cam Higby before this, and I'll be very honest about it. I have nothing bad to say about Cam Higby. Cam Higby was not one of the people out there provoking Antifa to fight with him. Cam was not involved in this altercation. So don't say they broke Cam's phone and that's why the blonde MAGA retard had to provoke a fight with Antifa. That doesn't even make fucking sense. That doesn't even make sense. I'm old enough to remember when a mob of people showed up at Chandler's house at 1 a.m., opened Chandler's door when Chandler was actually in bed. And I know because I got a lot of messages from people. I got a lot of messages and a lot of comments from people saying that when they watched this video again that I filmed of this whole thing, they felt very, very uncomfortable with how the MAGA people were behaving. And I'll tell you, when I was there, I felt very uncomfortable with how the MAGA people were behaving. I talked to other MAGA people in the crowd that were very uncomfortable with how these people were behaving. So it wasn't all MAGA people that were doing this, but there were absolutely some. There were absolutely some. And I didn't say anything about this at the time. I kept it under wraps. And I was like, I just don't, you know what? It's not going to benefit me to talk about this at all. So I wasn't even going to say anything. And then the MAGA retards just kept going and going and going and going and going. And they have now been harassing me every single day since I left Portland. Now, is Antifa harassing me? No. I've actually talked to Antifa members that are actually out there in Portland that have said to me flat out, you're the only one that's reporting this accurately. And it's not because my reporting was also like glowing about Antifa. I have flat out said many times, I think they all should be arrested. I think the solution to this entire problem was to arrest them. So it's not as though they like everything I'm saying, but they're the ones that are saying like, you're actually reporting this accurately. Whereas these other faggots are showing up and causing problems just to get it on video to go viral on the internet. So Antifa might not like me, but they do, at least some of them do have respect for the fact that I allow them to talk, that I allow them to say what they want, that I interviewed Chandler on the channel, and I allowed Chandler to say what he wanted, even if I didn't disagree with him, because our goal is to understand. Our goal is to understand and document. It is not to cause problems to go viral on the fucking internet. So someone asked earlier, Tony asked earlier, what happened right before the video? Well, that's an interesting question. So the MAGA person that was in the video responded after I posted this little breakdown yesterday. And he said, this is what thin skin parading as a journalist looks like. No context, no hours of video having debate, not showing getting hit, get spit in the face for 10 minutes, not showing getting hit in the eye with this Antifa POS umbrella. The hood rat is a relevant scumbag. He's calling me a hood rat and a fake journalist because I posted a breakdown of my own video that I took. I get complimented more by the left than I do by the right. That is absolutely true. And so I said to him flat out, I said, I noticed you have no video evidence to dispute what happened. You're more than welcome to show other angles or additional footage. We'll wait. Chat. Oh, you guys can't see this. Hang on. There we go. Chad was recording everything. This guy was out there recording and live streaming the entire thing. This guy, I don't have footage before I started my video. What I played for you is the full extent of the video that I had. But there is other video that exists, and he fucking has it. Because it's on his camera. Okay? So he absolutely has his own footage. He is making claims that Antifa was spitting in his face for 10 minutes. I don't buy that for one red second. Do you want to know why I don't buy that? Because I was sitting there just watching and observing for hours and hours and hours outside that ICE facility when I was in Portland. Antifa were being annoying. They were being loud. They were saying rude things. They were absolutely trying to break people's phones. They were causing chaos and nonsense in their own right. I am not on Antifa's side, but there was not one single moment while I was observing outside of the Portland ICE facility where I watched Antifa spit in anyone's face for 10 fucking minutes. And why didn't he just leave if that happened? I don't know. He should have. Wouldn't you think he would have video footage of that since he's running around with a phone live streaming the whole damn thing? If you don't call out wrong, even on your own side, they're going to use that against you. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So if Chad has video footage, Chad is welcome to offer his video footage. What Chad said, I don't owe you shit nor care. You can sit on it and wait all you want. You're getting rugged by everyone. This wasn't a flex, you hack. I have asked multiple MAGA retards. Do you guys have other footage? Do you guys have other footage? Do you guys have other footage? Show the footage. Show the video that disputes any single thing that I said. We watch video footage all the time. We watch video footage from people we like. We watch video footage from people we don't like. If someone has video footage that disputes anything that I said, a different angle of the fight, the footage leading up to what happened, then fucking show it. Fucking play it. But they're refusing. Why are they refusing, do you think? Is it because I'm a shitty journalist? I'm a better journalist than all of them put together. They don't even know what the fuck is going on down there. Is it because they're mad at me? Well, is that really an excuse? Because it kind of seems like you're letting your emotions getting in the way of facts. Well, if Cam has it, Cam can post it. Does Cam have the footage leading up to the fight? Then Cam can fucking post it. But I'll tell you what, I know sure as shit that Chad has it. Do you know why I know that Chad has it? Because Chad was walking around with a fucking video camera in his fucking hand. He has a video camera in his hand and he is live streaming the whole thing. You have another angle right here of the whole thing being live. Oh, you guys can't see it. Hang on. There it is. He has a video camera in his hand, live streaming the whole thing. You can see Antifa's hands are up there. Antifa is going like this. You have another camera right here, live streaming the whole thing. They have the footage. The reason that they're not sharing it is the footage is not complimentary of them. The reason that that footage is not being released is because it does not look good for them. Because, well, it is very true that Antifa was breaking people's phones. I saw that happen right in front of me. Well, it is very true that Antifa was causing problems and being annoying and being loud and shit-talking and yelling at ICE. All of that is very true. Well, it is true that Antifa set up an encampment in the middle of the street and they were causing problems for any person that went into that encampment. That is all legitimately true. It is also true that there are a lot of MAGA people out there who showed up just to cause problems, to go viral on the internet, because MAGA people love it when other MAGA people fight with Antifa. And I've talked about this. I tried to allude to this in the most subtle way that I could. When I was in Portland, I posted a video on my YouTube channel and I said, this is like an episode of Black Mirror. Does anyone remember the Black Mirror video where I literally recorded it as I was sitting on a bench in Portland observing all of this? I said, this is like an episode of Black Mirror where people are just here recording all of this bullshit for their own entertainment. I was trying to subtly allude to what was happening. I said this at the time. There are people who are just showing up there because they want to be famous on the internet and they want to make money being famous on the internet. If you condone that type of behavior, that is your decision. But personally, I don't think it's a very good idea to show up to provoke fights in order to create viral content for the internet. I don't think that's a noble or worthy cause. I don't think that's something that I want anything to do with. I showed up there to see for myself what was going on and to record from a detached perspective. I wasn't out there trying to provoke fights. I was just sitting there recording what other people were doing, and that was it. Because I'm not on any political team, MAGA retards. I'm not in any political tribe. I may have been nice to you, and I would have continued to be nice to you had you not turned into raving, unhinged fucking lunatics. But I'm not on your fucking MAGA tribe. I didn't even vote for Trump. I am way further right than Trump. I voted for Nick Fuentes for president, who probably would be doing a much better job. Jen, thank you for being a member of the channel for 16 months. I really do appreciate it. It's the Autumn of Love 2025. Yeah, it's something like that, Jen. So my point is this. I'm not covering for these people anymore. I'm going to call a spade a spade. And you know what? One of the reasons we're going to do a little bit of like lighter content tonight is if there's anything going on, I'm going to be streaming content from the Portland ICE facility again. we're going to be resuming some of our protest coverage because now I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to get over this head cold that I've had for 2 fucking weeks. So if there's stuff going on in front of the Portland ICE facility, I will be streaming it. And the MAGA retards are going to cry and they're going to complain and they're going to say, how dare she use our content? Welcome to the internet, motherfuckers. If you are live streaming on the internet, you don't get to decide who uses your content and who doesn't use your content. It's called fair use. And I promise you, Tommy's going to be complaining about this. This MAGA retard's going to be complaining about this. There will be other MAGA retards complaining about this when I use their content and all of that stuff. But I'm going to do it anyway because I have been covering the far left longer than any of them. I was here before them. And I will be here after them. And if they want to cry about it and complain, that's their business. But I will use anyone's content that I want to use who is live streaming what's going on in front of that ICE facility on the internet. And they can cry about it all they want. And I don't really care. Do they even care that it makes Antifa look reasonable and anyone anti-Antifa look like idiots? No, they don't care is the thing. Their stupidity is ushering in communism for fame because they're too stupid to understand the game. That is exactly fucking right. That is exactly fucking right. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, that is why we have a new Democratic Socialist mayor of New York City. And I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. Ooh, that was really loud. Let me do that again. I'm going to take advantage. But I told you so, mother effers. I told you. I told you he was going to win. I told you so. I told you so. It really looks like clout chasing. Does anyone else feel that way at this point? Yes, it is clout chasing. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Sexy ASMR. Maybe I'll do that again. Ooh. This has potential. I just get really, really close to the microphone and I talk like this. Yeah, they dragged me on X. Yeah, and now they're the ones freaking out. Listen, fuck around, find out, motherfuckers. Like, literally fuck around, find out. Those idiots have been talking about me for a week and a half. I've been just trying to go back and do my fucking work. And you know what? I have reached the point where I no longer care. I will say whatever the F I want. Anyway. So Zoran Mandami won last night in New York City. If you've been paying attention to my content, you were not surprised at all. I was quite frankly very, very surprised at how many people were surprised that Zoran won. Because I got all these messages. They were like, Karlyn, you were right. I'm like, I know. I told you he was there. There was no way. There was no effing way that Zoran Mandami was not going to win the mayor's race in New York City. Do you want to know why? Because no one likes Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo was never going to get more of the vote than what he got. Even if you, by the way, everyone's pissed off at Curtis Silwa, who I actually kind of feel bad for him, to be honest, because Curtis ran for the Republican nomination that no one else wanted to run for. Curtis ran unopposed for the Republican nomination for mayor. That's why he got it. And then Curtis, hang on, I need to take a drink. Hang on. And then Curtis got completely thrown under the bus by the Republican Party. Curtis Silwa, like, God bless him, man. He knew he was going to lose. He knew he never had a chance. He got up there and he gave a Republican representation anyway. He got thrown under the bus by his own party. There were no Republican resources that were behind him. And that they want to bitch and complain that he didn't drop out, they should all go fuck themselves. It's not as though he never had, because he doesn't, you want to know why he didn't drop out? Because he didn't fucking have to. And if you supported Andrew Cuomo, a Democrat, Trump endorsed a Democrat. You guys want to complain, bitch and complain about Democrats all the time. Do you know what you just proved? You just proved you're no different than fucking Democrats. The Republican Party and how they treated this mayor's race in New York City, you all just proved you are literally no fucking different than fucking Democrats. You endorsed a Democrat. You wanted the Republican to drop out to support a fucking Democrat. Go fuck yourselves. You people are part of the fucking problem. Zoran Mandami won because the Democratic Socialists in New York City mobilized over 30,000 individual volunteers for their campaign. The Democratic Socialists in New York City went out and tried to target audiences that had never been campaigned to in New York. The Democratic Socialists in New York City registered a metric fuck ton of new voters, while the Republicans were sitting on their asses and endorsing Democrats. The Democratic Socialists in New York City had a massive voter turnout drive where they got all the new voters that they registered to the polls. There is no reason that the Republican Party could not have done what the Democrats did, what the Democratic Socialists in New York City did for Zoran Mandami. There really wasn't, guys. There really wasn't. Had the Republicans actually put any effort into this race at all, they could have just mirrored the efforts of the Democratic Socialists, and Curtis would have gotten a much better result than what he got. But per usual, the Republicans didn't do anything. The Republicans gave up. They took their toys. They went home. They endorsed a Democrat. In the meantime, all the Democratic Socialists in New York City were working to get Zoran elected. Tens of thousands of people mobilized. They had thousands of events across New York. They knocked on over 1 million fucking doors. They made over 2 million fucking phone calls. They had voter registration drives. They had voter turnout drives. All of this was run through the Democratic Socialists of New York City. I know that because we went inside their meetings and we heard them talking about it. And while that was happening, the Republicans were bitching and complaining and whining and endorsing a Democrat and believing that memes on Twitter were going to win an election. And that is why Zoran Mandami won. The fact that Republicans told everyone to vote for Andrew Cuomo should be offensive. It should be offensive to anyone with a working brain. You guys remember that Andrew Cuomo was literally the one that was killing grandma in the nursing homes during 2020. And yet you want to forgive all that to have all the Republicans vote for him when you have a perfectly fine Republican candidate that maybe had you just put just a modicum of effort into something, instead of thinking that you were going to win a fucking meme war on Twitter, maybe something could have been done. But the fact is that the Democratic Socialists of New York City have an electoral machine that they have developed over the last 10 years, and that is why he won. And it should not have been a surprise to anyone paying attention, guys. I have been screaming about this. I warned about this. I told you exactly what the DSA in New York City was doing because I went inside their fucking phone calls. I went inside their private meetings. I recorded them. I put them on my Substack. I put them on my Twitter profile. But because I have all sorts of MAGA retards running around claiming that I'm secret Antifa, people don't pay attention. Do you want to know why, MAGA retards, you don't call people Antifa when they're actually investigating and researching the far left? I was handing you the DSA's game plan on a silver platter. I told you assholes months ago, here is what the DSA is doing. Here is how they won the Democratic primary. Here is how they're going to organize for the general election. All of this was available publicly on the internet for literally anyone who was paying attention. But there was so much crying and consternation and lying and smear campaigns targeting me that no one fucking paid attention, that everyone's shocked when Zoran Mandami won. I fucking told you this was going to happen. Scott Presler told you this shit was going to happen. Scott Presler's taking a victory lap today as well because he told people that that Democrats were going to fucking win. He told people the Republicans were going to lose. He was trying months ago to light a fire under people's ass because Scott Presler is actually a boots on the ground person. He knows what's up. He knows what's going on. He is very, very smart. He was trying to tell everyone, no one listened to him either. Do you want to know why? Because Republican and conservative influencers for months and months and months and months and months leading up to this were going, woke is dead. The Democratic Party's dead. We won. They lost. Woke is dead, guys. Woke is dead. Pinky swear, trust us, bro. High five. We own the libs. That's the message that the Republican constituents were getting. Woke is dead. The Democratic Party's over. They're never going to win again. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? I've been saying since January that woke wasn't dead and the Democratic Party wasn't over. I've been saying since January the left was actively organizing to do shit like this. No one fucking listened. Scott Pressler was trying to warn everyone, guys, this is not a sure thing. Everyone's got to get out there and actually do stuff. No one did because they were hearing from their conservative bullshit con artists that woke is dead and the Democratic Party is over. High five, pinky swear, trust me, bro. We won, they lost, we own the libs into oblivion. Does everyone understand why I try to impress upon people that the conservative bullshit establishment is just that? They are a bullshit, narrative-driven establishment that is not hinged into reality. Reality is you don't win a mayoral election in New York City by posting memes on Twitter. Reality is you don't win a mayoral election in New York City by saying, he's a Muslim. The reality is you don't win a mayoral election in New York City by saying, did you know he has a rich mother? The reality is you win a mayoral election in New York City by making phone calls, knocking on doors, registering new voters, driving them to the fucking polls, getting out and campaigning to people who have never been campaigned to before, going to mosques, politicizing the issue in the Middle East, saying, no, I'm not going to Israel, I'm staying in New York City. Do you know that Zoran Mandami was the only fucking candidate for mayor in New York that said, no, I'm not going to Israel, I'm staying in New York City? That's how you win a mayor's election. That's what you do. Elections are not won on Twitter. Elections are not won by posting a meme. Elections are not won by owning the fucking lips. Elections are won by going out, having events, talking to people in the real world, making fucking phone calls, organizing a mass amount of volunteers, going into community centers, going into churches, going into mosques, going into synagogues, going into all the fucking places where the voters actually are, registering new voters who aren't voters yet, driving their asses to the polls to make sure they actually get out and vote. That is what the DSA did in New York City. The DSA won because they focused on fundamentals while conservative bullshit con artists were reeing on Twitter and trying to own the fucking lips. That's why there's a DSA mayor of New York City. And nothing is going to change until the conservative bullshit con artists start to smarten the fuck up and actually pay attention to what wins elections. So, that's all I really have to say about that. That's all I really have to say. Republicans play make-believe and they call it good. Yup. Listen, man, I'm not actually upset that Zoran won. And the reason I'm not upset that Zoran won is I think this is going to give us a case study for how communists and socialists plan to operate. I think this is going to give us a real world case study of the implications of some of these policies. And so for us, this is going to be a good thing. For us, this is going to give us more data. And I'm kind of in a place right now, and I talked about this a little bit on Disenraged last night. I'm on a place right now where I do not consider myself to be an activist because I'm not on any political tribe. I'm not on any team. I just don't even care anymore. Honestly, my job is to study the left. I want to study the left with the detachment of an anthropologist going in and studying a tribe in the wild. And I want to be able to say, here's what they say, and here's what they do, and here's how they organize, and here's how they strategize. Here's how they organize their community. Here's what you need to know about them. And I want to put that information out there, but I am not playing for the Republican Party. I fucking loathe the Republican Party. I am not playing for the MAGA retards. I fucking loathe the MAGA retards. The only people that I half like on the internet are Nick Fuentes and the Groypers, and many people on the anti-Zionist, like very far right. Those are the only people I really like on the internet. And so fuck Israel, fuck the GOP, fuck the Democrats, fuck Antifa. I'm not on any of your fucking teams. I am in no fucking tribe. My job is to study the left, and that's what I'm doing. And if people want to come and join, they're allowed to. And you know what? I do feel like we have the most sane community on the internet purely because I have that approach. Now, one last thing before we get started. I have a surprise. I have a surprise. Now, I don't dislike all Jews. I don't dislike all Jews. In fact, I really like this one Jew named Adam King. I love Adam King. I think Adam King's adorable. I really do. Adam King runs the Awesome Jew account on Twitter. I'm not the hugest fan of his Awesome Jew account, if I'm honest about that, but I do like Adam King. Hang on one sec. Jenny's getting inky with it. Thank you for the super chat. The right thinks they are entitled to votes from people not down with the left, and then they act like idiots and lie to their base. Then they can't understand why they can't get votes. They've just made it easier for the left to win. I'm going to take a picture of that. That is one of the most beautiful super chats that I've ever seen. And it's exactly correct. I really do appreciate it. So, Adam King and I are cool. And yesterday or the other day, maybe it was on Monday, I don't know. The other day, Adam King DM'd me and he said, Karlyn, I have to tell you this. I'm having James Lindsay on my show this week on Thursday, and we're going to talk about his trip to Israel. Hey, thanks, Shayna. MAGA and the right-wing commentators like Matt Walsh are too busy shunning people who don't live like them. Bonus for Pressler because he's gay. Yeah, there's a lot of problems, Shayna. I do appreciate the super chat. So Adam King slid into my DMs and he was like, Karlyn, I just wanted you to know. Wait. I missed your super chat, Fizzle. I'm sorry. When did I miss your super chat? I missed Kyle's super chat too, I think. Had to step away. I just heard your I told you so. Man, that vindication has got to feel so good. These MAGA boomers can't catch a clue. I thank you for that, Kyle. I apologize for missing it. Oh, God, I missed a whole bunch of super chats. I'm sorry, guys. My God, Republican MAGA can't play a good ground game. That's the consequences of believing Trump was your secular messiah. Enjoy your socialist mayor. Yeah, totally real. Fizzled, I apologize. Trump has acquired a controlling golden share in U.S. steel and equity stakes in 4 private companies. Trump beat Mondami to seizing the means of production. Traditional conservatism is dead. That's really interesting, Fizzled. Really interesting, and I do appreciate that. So, Adam King, I got to get Adam King, the darling, he's so adorable. Adam King, he slid into my replies on Twitter and he said, Karlyn, I just want to let you know that I'm interviewing James Lindsay live on my channel on Thursday about his trip to Israel. And I said, oh, Adam King, you know what I like. Jen, thank you for the super chat. All this DSA and NYC stuff reminds me of MIMH Project observation. I don't know what that is, Jen, but thank you for the money. I appreciate it. And so what did I do? What did I do when I heard that Adam King was interviewing James Lindsay live? Well, I ran over to Adam Green's chat because it just happened that Adam King told me this while Adam Green was live on the internet. And you guys all remember Adam Green. Adam Green is a glorious Viking-like gentleman who believes that Christianity is a Jewish psyop. He's been on the channel a couple times before. And I went into Adam's chat on his show and I said, Adam King is interviewing James Lindsay live about his trip to Israel on Thursday. And do you know what Adam Green said immediately? Adam Green was like, oh shit, Karlyn, do you want to watch that together? And I was like, yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do, Adam Green. Yes, I do. And so tomorrow, guys, we are doing a special edition episode starting around 2:45 p.m. Eastern time because we got a 3:00 start time where we are going to be watching Adam King's live interview with James Lindsay about his trip to Israel. And I'm not saying you guys can't go in the chat on Adam King can I tell you guys, Adam King actually does want you in the chat. Adam King is really looking forward to people being in his chat. We need to blow up Adam King's chat, and we love Adam King, so we're going to be very nice to him. But I think we're going to be asking James some very hard questions, and I think that Adam King will really like that. And I think that James will not like that. And I think it'll be great. Do you guys remember the last time we did this to James? James went off on like in the middle of a fucking interview and started yelling at Reagan and calling me a Fed. So I'm really looking forward to James's reaction to all this, and it's gonna be awesome. And yeah, Reagan scared James the last time, so that's gonna be tomorrow at 2:45. And just to get us in the mood for this is only 4 minutes, and then we're going to get to Nick. We're going to get to Ben Shapiro and Nick. That's the next one. But I have to show you guys this because I literally just saw this earlier today, and it's the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. So shout out to this guy. I'm going to give this guy a follow. Shout out to this guy. I will not eat Z-Bug. He did an episode of James Lindsay Saves the World. It's 4 minutes long. You gotta fucking watch it.
For years, he studied the blade, becoming a master of the sword.
So introducing the James Lindsay Save the World epic. The National Institute of Mental Health Project is the basis of the childhood book, The Secret. Oh, really? I didn't know that. You learn something new every day. Thanks so much. Let's enjoy this 4 minutes of just absolute glory. And then we will get to Ben Shapiro and Nick Fuentes. I promise, I promise, I promise.
For years, he studied the blade, becoming a master of the sword. Then he delved deep into the ancient occult texts of Hermes, until finally, through intense meditation, he unlocked the ability to see the hidden woke world. Now he dedicates his life to fighting against the woke right. The hidden occult agenda that only he can see. He is James Lindsay, the woke warrior.
CEO, the plan is working perfectly. No one even suspects our ad contains a subliminal message.
Good. Soon the glorious woke right will rule the world.
But my CEO, what if someone figures out there is a woke right subliminal message in our new ad? We would be ruined.
Don't be a fool. Only a master of esoteric occult symbolism could decipher our commercial's true meaning.
You think you are right? Then why do I have a picture of a James Lindsay was right jar filled with coin? Checkmate. You fascists. What's this? A new sandwich ad? Oh, my science! Look at all those woke right dog whistles. I need to warn my many followers about this. There, that should do it. Now back to saving the world by arguing with people on X. Oh, you think you can just criticize Israel? Well, I'm going to post that you're just a Jew hater. Put another coin in the James Lindsay was right jar.
Wow, now I feel hungry. And worried that AIPAC has too much influence in American politics. Wow, that new beef and cheddar sounds great. And so does banning H-1B visas.
Boss, the plan is working perfectly. The children are marching into the street.
Good, good.
You woke right fascists are no match for James Lindsay. Hey, wait a second, what's that noise? Oh no, the evil woke right are capturing the youth. I need to stop this fiendish roast beef restaurant before it's too late. James Lindsay, away! Here's that evil roast beef restaurant. Now to get inside. Now to take out the guard. Good thing, in addition to being an expert on all knowledge, I'm also an expert with the sword. Ha! Take that! You fascist! Wow, that was some sword fight, but I was victorious. This must be where those fiends are broadcasting their commercial. Now to give those kids something educational to watch. One of my new discourses on Gnostic communism.
What the hell is this? 3 fucking hours? Are you kidding me? Fuck it! I'm gonna play outside!
You win this time, Lindsay, but nobody can resist the beef and cheddar forever.
And once again, the day is saved, thanks to James Lindsay, the woke warrior.
On today's episode, we learned that anything can contain woke dog whistles, even something as trivial as a sandwich commercial.
Wow! Just like when leftists say there's racist dog whistles and everything!
Yes. No. You are trying to confuse me. You are now blocked on X. Haha. Let that be a lesson to you.
That's it. That's it. It's so fucking perfect. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was everything I needed. It was everything I didn't know I needed. And we will be continuing with the insanity tomorrow around the 3:00 hour when Adam Green and I team up to do a live reaction stream to Adam King interviewing James Lindsay about his trip to Israel, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. It's going to be so much fun, and James is going to be so pissed off, and it's going to be the best. It's going to be like, this is everything I needed. I still feel like I'm recovering from my trip to the West Coast. I'm just barely getting over my cold. I have to deal with all of this bullshit from the MAGA retards, and now I feel like the universe has smiled upon me. The universe has smiled upon me, and it's given me this gift, and the gift was Adam Green going, Karlyn, do you want to watch that together and react to it? I said, yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah. There's nothing I want to do more than watch this with Adam Green and react to it live on the internet. That's all I want. That's all I want. That's all I want. Anyway, we are now going to move into the main event. What have I been streaming for? An hour and 15 minutes. I said it was going to be 20 minutes. It was really an hour and 15 minutes. That's all right. It's my show. I'll do what I want. All right. I was going to wait until Friday to watch this, but I just didn't feel like doing any other content today, if I'm being honest about it. And I said, you know what I want to watch? I want to watch Ben Shapiro's hit piece on Nick Fuentes, because the entire conservative establishment is freaking out. It is so. What is Chief Trumpster calls them? Chief Trumpster is calling it the Tucker cost, like the Holocaust, but with Tucker. The entire conservative establishment has never been so fired up about anything in their lives than they are about the fact that Tucker Carlson interviewed Nick Fuentes. That apparently is the most important battle that all conservatives need to fight, is Tucker Carlson having a conversation with Nick Fuentes on his own show that no one actually has to watch. And so Ben Shapiro did a whole hit piece episode about how Tucker Carlson is sabotaging America by talking to a 27-year-old virgin on his show. And we're going to watch it, and we're going to talk about it. So, guys, we have finally reached the main event. Please mount the like button if you would be so kind. There's a shocking disparity between the number of people watching and the number of people who have mounted the like button for me. Mounting the like button lets more people come in and join us. If you don't want to mount the like button, you don't have to. It's okay. If we have some groypers watching, groypers tend to be virginal. And so groypers don't like mounting things. So if you're a groyper, you can give the like button a high five. You can shake the like button's hand. You can give the like button a nice platonic hug. You don't have to do anything to the like button. Now, if you're one of those groypers that, maybe you've had sex before, you can do other things to the like button if you want. Or, anyone can do, if you're not a groyper, you can bend the like button over and fuck it for all I care. I really don't care. Just do something to the like button. It can be an appropriate thing. It can be an inappropriate thing. All depends on what mood you're in. The like button consents to everything. Just do something to the like button. I really appreciate it. All right. Let's get this party. Yeah, you can get on your knees and pray to the like button. You can do that. You can. Yep, true. All right, let's see what's going on. All right.
I'm going to do something different on today's show. We're going to cover one topic in depth. That topic is, I think, the most important thing happening in the country. It was a hot topic last week, but I wanted to take some time to really gather my thoughts and speak on it.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize this. Ben Shapiro thinks that Nick Fuentes talking to Tucker Carlson is the most important thing happening in the country. I don't know, man. I have this crazy idea that Antifa protesting outside the ICE facilities is more important. I have this crazy idea that a socialist becoming the new mayor of New York City is important. I have this crazy idea that we're about to enter into winter and the holiday season. And, maybe Trump wants to do something to bring down prices at some point because a lot of American families are about to be suffering. That's really more important. For my money, if you guys have any ideas, if you guys have ideas about things that are more important than Tucker Carlson talking to Nick Fuentes, please put them in the chat, because on the list of things that I consider to be important, an interview between two influencers just doesn't rise that high for me. No one has to watch it. But I'm a woman, so what do I know?
Coherent fashion, holistic fashion. That topic is the fragmentation of the political right. That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes. They call themselves the Groypers. They are white supremacists. They hate women, Jews, Hindus, many types of Christians, brown people of a wide variety of backgrounds, blacks, America's foreign policy, and America's Constitution. They admire Hitler and Stalin.
Oh.
And that splinter faction is now being facilitated and normalized within the mainstream Republican Party.
Oh, no!
The main agent in that normalization is Tucker Carlson, who is an intellectual coward, a dishonest interlocutor, and a terrible friend. And Tucker Carlson last week was aided.
You're a bad friend, Tucker. This is a fight that women would have when they're pissed off at each other. Tucker, you talk to my ex-boyfriend. You are a bad friend. You betrayed me by talking to someone that I don't like. Tucker, I don't think we can come back from this. The trust has been irrevocably broken between us, Tucker. What the fuck?
The main agent in that normalization is Tucker Carlson, who is an intellectual coward, a dishonest interlocutor, and a terrible friend. And Tucker Carlson last week was aided, abetted, celebrated for normalizing Nazism within the Republican Party by the mainstay organization of the traditional right, the Heritage Foundation. Now, before we explain what's been happening, let's make one thing clear. This is not about free speech or cancellation. It was never about free speech or cancellation.
Of course not.
Free speech has a definition. The right to speak free of governmental coercion. I believe in it, of course. I've always defended it. Criticism of bad speech is, in fact, just a form of free speech. Cancellation also has a definition. The banning of particular people, including people like Nick Fuentes, from platforms like X or Facebook. I believe that Nick Fuentes is odious and despicable, but I've never called for his cancellation. And in fact, I've called for his restoration to those services, despite the fact that I think he's odious and despicable. It is not cancellation to draw moral lines between viewpoints. In fact, we used to call that one of the key aspects of conservatism. It is not cancellation to refuse to signal boost Hitler's supporters like Nick Fuentes. It is not cancellation to criticize Tucker Carlson for rhetorically fluffing Nick Fuentes and other anti-American crackpots. It's not
rhetorically fluffing. Rhetorically fluffing. Tucker Carlson is rhetorically fluffing Nick Fuentes. If you don't know what fluffing means, don't Google that. Like, this is one of those times when you really, this is like when I told you guys not to Google the movie Sallow, and then like half of you Googled it because you couldn't help yourselves. And then as soon as you Google the movie Sallow, you're like, Karlyn, I really shouldn't have looked at that. And I'm like, I fucking told you not to Google that. If you don't know what fluffing means, don't Google. Hang on. I saw a chat. Yeah, MAGA. Well, it's not all of MAGA NPC detected. It's just MAGA retards. And so, we don't really care what MAGA retards have to say. If MAGA retards want to attack me, they can. Like must be a day that ends in Y that I'm pissing someone off on Twitter. Whatever.
Not cancellation if you urge others to stop promoting those who rhetorically fluff Nazi apologists. Those are all elements of free speech. And anyone who says differently is lying to you, and lying for the most cynical reasons.
Yeah, okay, Ben. Okay. Karlyn, not related, but YouTube is putting Spanish-speaking ads. You are the anti-commie warrior. We need you to fight against the Listen, man, I can't. I understand. I fucking hate Spanish too. I hate it when Spanish is spoken around me. If I never heard Spanish again, no offense to Spanish speakers, but like if I never heard Spanish again, I would be very, very happy about that. And but there are only so many problems I can try to fix at one time, and I can't control what ads YouTube is showing. So I'm sorry. You're gonna have to find another one to fight that battle. But I really do appreciate you telling me, and I appreciate the super chat. Be a terrible friend. You have to be, to be a terrible friend, you have to be friends first. Is Ben making an admission that Tucker is his friend? Did he get Ben Shapiro must have gotten a rhetorical buffering from Tucker or bluffing from Tucker. Buffering might be better. Hey, thanks, Jenny's getting inky with it. I appreciate it.
To misdirect from their own defense of those Nazi apologists and their promoters. The issue here isn't that Tucker Carlson had Nick Fuentes on his show last week. He has every right to do that, of course. The issue here is that Tucker Carlson decided to normalize and fluff Nick Fuentes. And that the Heritage Foundation then decided to robustly defend that performance. Those who criticize both Tucker and Heritage aren't canceling. They are quite properly drawing a moral line. So for those who don't understand,
those who criticize Ben Shapiro and everyone at the Daily Wire and every Zionist who puts Israel before America, we aren't canceling them, guys. We are not canceling Ben Shapiro. We're not doing that. We are simply drawing a line that Ben Shapiro is not in line with our values because Israel is not America and Israel should not come before America. And I don't want us to send our money to Israel and I don't want us to support Israel. So when we talk about what a bullshit con artist, Zionist, Israel first warmonger Ben Shapiro is, we are not canceling him. We are simply drawing a line that clearly states our values.
What's going on? Let's begin with Nick Fuentes. Now, as I mentioned, last week, Tucker Carlson had on Nick Fuentes. Fuentes is a 27-year-old man who's dubbed himself the leader of a movement called the Groypers. He has a large audience of alienated young white men in particular, and he's earned increased media attention over the course of the past few years, especially over the last year. Now, from Tucker Carlson's interview, you might have gathered that Fuentes has some borderline views on race, a peculiar obsession with what he calls organized Jewry, and a rather sad relationship with the female sex. But probably you came away thinking that, for the most part, Fuentes lives on the radical edge of normality. You think that if you watch the interview, because Tucker Carlson decided that it was important not only to host Fuentes, but to smooth over his views, water them down, and make them far more palatable to a normal audience. As we'll discuss in a bit, this is what Tucker Carlson does for a living. But back to Nick Fuentes. To understand just what Tucker did here, we must actually examine what Nick Fuentes says on his show and has said for almost a decade, because he was asked precisely 0 questions about any of what you're about to see by Tucker Carlson. Nick Fuentes says women want to be raped.
A lot of women want to be raped. And when I say raped, I mean like, that sounds bad when I say it like that. But there's like a lot of women that really want a guy to beat the shit out of them.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is fucking retarded. It is absolutely true that sometimes women can fantasize about being taken completely out of control. This is very well documented. It is sometimes a very hot thing to fantasize about being taken completely out of control because it's what we call a fetish. And sometimes you want something a little bit more than just missionary position under the blankets with the shades drawn. Sometimes, like, there is a whole movie industry and very successful book called 50 Shades of Grey that is entirely about this concept. This should not be that difficult to understand. Almost everyone who has ever had sex has either slapped someone on the ass or been slapped on the ass themselves. This is really not difficult. That's what they're talking about. Obviously, none of this applies to me, and I would never fantasize about such things, but I'm just talking about other people.
But also, they have to pretend, but part of it is they have to pretend like they don't.
Nick Fuentes says that his followers should kill, rape, and die in his name.
Raise your right hand. All right, everybody raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I will kill, rape, and die for Nicholas J. Fuentes.
I will kill, rape, and die for Nicholas J.
Nick Fuentes says that women are whores who shouldn't be in politics.
So true.
I will continue my crusade
Look
against
how
women
young
in
he
politics.
was. Look how young he was. Young Nicholas with the very... I hate this fucking tie. This is one of Nick's worst ties of all time. Someone needs to burn this tie. It's so cute. Nick is grown up now. This is baby Nick.
It's always like this, and it's so ironic. Women are like, I don't like when you say I like it, you have to affect the face. When you say to repeal the 19th Amendment, that offends me. That hurts my feelings. It's like, have you ever stopped and considered that maybe if you get offended, there's such a strong emotional reaction to political opinions you disagree with across the board. Maybe that's one of the reasons why you shouldn't be making political decisions. I'm not attacking women. I'm attacking whores.
So true,
You have
Nick.
no problem.
So true.
Right? I'm
Yep.
attacking whores. I'm attacking sluts.
Yep.
Stupid, dirty bitches.
Nick Fuentes says that Jim Crow was actually better for black people.
It was better for them too. Number one, but number two, who cares? Who cares? Enough with the Jim Crow stuff. Who cares? Oh, they had to drink out of a different water fountain. Big fucking deal. Oh no, they had to go to a different school. Their water fountain in that famous picture.
Ben Shapiro's actually making me like Nick Fuentes more right now. I'm not gonna lie.
It was worse. Who cares? Grow up. Drink out of the fucking water fountain. It's water. It's the same. And even if it was bad, who cares? Who cares? It's better. It's better in general. We all agree it was better for them. It's better for us. Better in general.
Nick Fuentes says that white people are justified in being racist.
Reason that we talk about this, by the way, I know a lot of black people see this and they go, man, why are you always talking about black people, this and that? Because there just needs to be some shame here. Well, there's a few reasons. First, white people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified, to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them.
Yup, true.
Nick Fuentes is a Hitler admirer and a Holocaust denier.
Buddy, it's Führer Friday. It is Hitler Friday. Shut up.
Friday.
It is Heil Hitler Friday,
Fascism
nigga.
Friday.
Heil Hitler, all my niggas, Nazis.
Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool. So, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go. He was also really fucking cool. It doesn't really sound correct to me. Wait a second. It takes 1 hour to cook a batch of cookies, and you have 15 ovens, probably in 4 different kitchens, right? Doing 24 hours a day, every day for 5 years. How long would it take you to make 6 million? I don't know. It certainly wouldn't be 5 years, right? The math doesn't seem to add up there.
So real.
The math doesn't quite seem to add up there. I don't think you'd result in 6 million, maybe 200 to 300,000 cookies. And I think the Red Cookie Association said something like that, probably 200 to 300,000 cookies baked, probably. And in addition, in this hypothetical, I imagine that if you took aerial photographs over the kitchens, you would need to see certain smokestacks to release the smoke from baking the cookies, and the smokestacks would project certain shadows, but I guess they're not visible in the aerial photographs taken over the kitchens. Moreover, if you look at the soil texture, it's really not deep enough for mass cookie storage underground.
Nick Fuentes believes that the Jews start all the wars, that perfidious Jews in positions of power ought to be killed, and says the Jews are filth who have to be removed from the country.
And once again, remember who is responsible for it all. The Jews.
So real.
They are responsible for every war in the world. It's not even debatable at this point. This has nothing to do with oil. This has nothing to do with democracy. This has nothing to do with liberal internationalism. We are at war with Iran because they pose a threat to Israel's hegemony. That's why we're bombing their nukes, to pave the way for regime change so Israel can dominate the region, because that makes them the most powerful they can be.
There is an occult element at the height.
See, someone said the other day, I was arguing with someone because they said Nick should grow a Hitler mustache, but he can't. And I said Nick can actually grow a very nice mustache. And he does sometimes. And I feel like the mustache really suits Nick. And I feel like it's about time for Nick to grow the mustache out again. Because I think that Nick looks very distinguished with a mustache. Personally, I don't normally like mustaches on men, but I think Nick pulls it off. Matt / Speak the Truth, diss Nick's chat fucked him up. Well, Matt Retardio doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. That arrogant douchebag can fuck right off.
Levels of society.
Oh, hey, Not a Panda over on Rumble with a Rumble rant. Let's see. Must have been a slow day if Shapiro is fluffing Fuentes with a clip show. It's like an 80s election. Yeah, I mean, like, if I'm being honest about it, like, actually, let me ask you guys. One in the chat if all of these clips are making you like Nick Fuentes more. 2 in the chat if all of these clips are making you like Nick Fuentes less. 3 in the chat if you are neutral. 1 if you like Nick more after watching these clips. 2 if you like Nick less after watching these clips. 3 if you are neutral. It's a lot of ones, guys. It's a lot of ones. Couple threes, no twos. So Ben Shapiro's little hit piece is obviously totally and completely backfiring.
And specifically among the Jews, so many of the people that are perpetrating the lies and the destruction on the country, they are evildoers. They are people that worship false gods. They are people that practice magic or rituals or whatever.
Magic.
And more than anything, those
people who practice magic.
When we take power, they need to be given the death penalty.
True.
Straight up.
Yep.
And I'm far more concerned about that than I am about even non-white people or mass migration. These people that are communing with demons and engaging in this sort of witchcraft and stuff, and these people that are suppressing the name Christ and suppressing Christianity, they must be absolutely annihilated when we take power. This is God's country. This is Jesus's country. This is not the...
You know what clip I like the best? I really hope Ben Shapiro plays this one. The clip that I like the best from Nick is the clip where Nick is talking about how we should have like Chinese samurai people on the sidewalks decapitating black people. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? This is one of the... Can someone please send me this clip if you know what I'm talking about? Either DM it to me on Twitter or a mod can put it in the chat or something. But like the clip where Nick is talking about the Chinese fucking samurais decapitating the black people, that's the funniest fucking Nick clip ever in like the history of like all time. After you shared the Republican Jewish Coalition Conference in Vegas on Sunday, I know the Republicans learned nothing and we are screwed. Yeah, we are so fucked. We are so fucked. It's not even funny.
Domain of atheists or devil worshippers or perfidious Jews. This is Christ's country.
Josh Hammer and Mark Levin. Fuck these people. Like, deeply, seriously.
Oh, that was so hot.
All real Americans, if you are a real American, if you were born in this country...
Listen, Nick Fuentes is like a little brother, so I can't find him sexy at all because he's like a little brother. Nick is not allowed to be a sexualized being, but when Nick Fuentes just said that was fucking hot. Listen again.
Worshippers or
not that
perfidious Jews. This is Christ's country.
This.
Josh Hammer and Mark Levin. Fuck these people.
That hot. Like I'm sorry, that's like the sexiest thing Nick has ever. I fucking love nerdy guys who tell Zionists to fuck off. It's like, oh, like Harrison Smith the other day on Twitter. Harrison Smith is like, Harrison Smith said something the other day on Twitter where I was like, Harrison Smith has been so fire on Twitter lately, just going off on fucking everything. And I was like, oh, bro, I know we're both married, but that was like the hottest thing that I've seen. Like you are now actually hot to me. Like that was awesome. One more time.
Hammer and Mark Levin. Fuck these people. Like, deeply, seriously. All real Americans, if you are a real American, if you were born in this country, I don't even care who you are, what you are. If you are a real American that loves this country, you have generations in this country, your family or you fought for this flag, fought for the Constitution, fought for our church, fought for our civilization. For all of you, I say about Josh Hammer and Mark Levin and Laura Loomer, fuck them. Fuck them. Deeply, seriously, get them the fuck out of our country.
Nick Fuentes, it should be mentioned, despises Donald.
Oh my God, that was so good. Was that good for you guys? Was that good? That was real good for me. I'll tell you that. Maybe you should tell Victor to say fuck Israel. And well, maybe I will. Maybe I will, average person. Maybe I will. It is my anniversary. I might be having sex tonight, so maybe I will. Okay.
Trump and the MAGA movement as well.
Fuck you. Fuck you. You suck. You are fat. You are a joke. You are stupid. You are not funny. You are not as smart as you think you are.
So real.
You are, and honestly, and if you watch my show, you know I've been very critical. I've never been this far. This just goes to show this entire thing has been a scam. When we look back on the history of populism in America, we are going to look back on the MAGA movement as the biggest scam in American history. And the liberals were right.
So true.
The MAGA supporters were had. They were.
Yep.
So that right there is just a brief glimpse into the twisted mind of Nick Fuentes. And there's plenty more where that came from. Of course,
show us
hours
more,
of it
Ben.
per day.
Show us more, baby.
And there's no doubt that Nick Fuentes has a lot of play these days. That's because the left, by moving into a politics of anti-white, anti-Christian, anti-male identitarianism, created its bizarro mirror image, a white pseudo-Christian incel identitarian movement dedicated to destroying the institutions of this country and replacing Americanism with something else. Nick Fuentes' philosophy is not fully formed. It's an incoherent stew of malignity. But that's where Tucker Carlson enters the story. Now, since his exit from Fox News in 2023, when, of course, he was a very, very popular host, Tucker Carlson has turned himself into a conspiracist and a crank and a pathological liar. Tucker excuses Vladimir Putin's murderous and barbarous reign. He has even become one of his most ardent defenders.
It is so much nicer than any city in my country. I had no idea. My father spent a lot of time there in the 80s when he worked for the US government and barely had electricity. And now it is so much cleaner and safer and prettier aesthetically. Its architecture, its food, its service, than any country, city in the United States that you have to, and this is non-ideological. How did that happen? How did that happen? And at a certain point, I don't think the average person cares as much about abstractions as about the concrete reality of his life. And if you can't use your subway, for example, as many people are afraid to in New York City because it's too dangerous, you have to sort of wonder, like, isn't that the ultimate measure of leadership? And that's true, by the way, it's radicalizing for an American to go to Moscow, I didn't know that, I've learned it this week, to Singapore, to Tokyo, to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Because these cities, no matter how we're told they're run and on what principles they're run, are wonderful places to live.
So I guess you put in 10 rubles here and you get it back when you put the cart back. So it's free, but there's an incentive to return it and not just bring it to your homeless encampment. I went from amused to legitimately angry. So we were guessing what this would cost. Everybody hears from the United States buys groceries, and we didn't pay any attention to costs as we were just putting in the cart what we would actually eat over a week. And we all came in around $400, about $400. It was $104 US here. And that's when you start to realize that ideology maybe doesn't matter as much as you thought, corruption. If you take people's standard of living and you tank it through filth and crime and inflation, and they literally can't buy the groceries they want, at that point, maybe it matters less what you say or whether you're a good person or a bad person. You're wrecking people's lives in their country, and that's what our leaders have done to us.
When Tucker Carlson interviewed Vladimir Putin, by the way, Vladimir Putin was so amused by Tucker Carlson's easy questioning that he actually mocked him. Tucker Carlson has massaged the Iranian dictatorship and admitted to not asking any difficult questions of the president of that dictatorship.
The interview is limited by a couple of factors. One, it was done by remote through a translator. That's always awkward. For another, I don't speak Persian. And there are all kinds of questions that I didn't ask the president of Iran, particularly questions to which I knew I could not get an honest answer, such as, was your nuclear program totally disabled by the bombing campaign by the U.S. government a week and a half ago? There's no chance he's going to answer that question honestly. I didn't bother to ask it. The answer, in fact, from an American perspective, even from the CIA's perspective, is unknowable.
Tucker bizarrely worships at the altar of Qatar.
They're mad at you because you don't put your parents in some institution. Maybe they're trying to break up your families.
Well, it can be a reason. Honestly, I don't know what is really the purpose behind this, but we see that, you know, a lot of things that are happening are attacks on humanity in general. It's when you lose the family value, when you lose the connection between the family themselves, you will lose the connection between the people as well, on a broader level, on the people in the same neighborhood, on the people in the same region, in the same countries. And that's basically will just make us, you know, as individuals who are quote unquote independent from anyone, that's what we will feel. Yet it will just make our societies vulnerable and easy to be penetrated.
That's right.
Tucker Carlson praises Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro, even as Maduro keeps the entire country in communist penury and ships fentanyl into the United States to kill Americans by the hundreds of thousands.
Why are we so opposed to Nicolas Maduro? So if you ask someone on the street, random person, why are we against Nicolas Maduro? The answer you're going to get is, who's Nicolas Maduro? But if you find someone in South Florida, for example, who knows who Nicolas Maduro is, who can identify where Venezuela is on a map, that person will almost certainly say, well, because he's a communist or a socialist, he's exceedingly left-wing. And that is true. Nicolas Maduro and his government are very left-wing on economics. Not on social policy, by the way, which is kind of interesting. In Venezuela, gay marriage is banned, abortion is banned, sex changes for transgenderism are banned. It's one of the very few countries in the entire hemisphere with those policies. It is on social policy, not defending the regime, just saying.
Guys, Tucker Carlson is making the very severe mistake of like thinking for himself and saying things that he's not supposed to say. And I'm not saying I agree with him on everything, but like these seem like rather innocuous things to be kind of like just saying like, hey, maybe not everything in every country we don't like is inherently bad. Maybe some other countries that maybe they aren't our best friends, but maybe they do something right. Sometimes people we dislike do things that are correct and like beneficial. And maybe we should be looking like, how are they doing that? And maybe we should be learning from that. And it's like why we study the left. It's like, okay, we can dislike the left, but the left is highly organized. They are highly effective. They are very smart about what they're doing. They have implemented a century-long like strategy to take over every institution in America. Maybe we should be looking at that and going, what the fuck are those people doing? And maybe we should be saying like, maybe not everything is bad and maybe there are things we can appropriate for our own uses. I'm just saying. Not a Panda over on Rumble says Shapiro dropping euphemisms like he's just seen his sister walk out of the shower. Well, I don't want to think about Ben Shapiro watching his sister's boobs. So please, whatever, I guess. Thanks for the money.
One of the most conservative countries in North or South or Central America. Only El Salvador really comes close.
Tucker Carlson glosses Hamas, the genocidal jihadi group behind October 7th, as a political organization.
You can't claim that they're in Hamas while simultaneously claiming that Hamas is a group of jihadis. They're Islamic extremists, which they also claim constantly, which I don't know if that's true, by the way. Seems more like a political organization, but whatever it is, they're telling us constantly they're Al-Qaeda.
Tucker Carlson has attacked President Trump as a cover-up artist for sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein on behalf of Israel and Mossad, making sure, of course, never to mention President Trump's name, because, of course, Tucker's a coward.
Wow.
And moreover, it's extremely obvious to anyone who watches that this guy had direct connections to a foreign government. Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed
listen to the cheers
into thinking that that's naughty. There is nothing wrong.
See, the problem, guys, the problem for Ben Shapiro is not that Tucker Carlson said that. The problem was the cheers from the audience when Tucker said that. That's the real issue here.
Was saying that. There was nothing hateful about saying that.
Tucker Carlson has stated that President Trump has undermined America First and MAGA by attacking Iran, giving in to neocon ghouls like Mark Levin, while also idiotically arguing that President Trump striking Iran's nuclear facilities would lead to World War III. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Tucker Carlson also said in his interview with Nick Fuentes that the people he hates most in the entire world, more than ISIS,
Zionists.
Al-Qaeda,
so
Tifa, Marxists, rapists, murderers,
Tifa.
are Christian Zionists who represent an enormous chunk of the conservative base. According to Tucker Carlson, who admits that he first read the Bible all the way through just 2 years ago, Christians who support a Jewish state of Israel are heretics and blasphemers with a brain virus.
How do you explain Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, and there are a lot like that, John Bolton. I mean, I've known them all, George W. Bush, like Karl Rove. I mean, all people I know personally who I've seen like be seized by this brain virus, and they're not Jewish. Most of them are self-described Christians, and then the Christian Zionists who are, well, Christian Zionists. Like, what is that? Right. And I could just say for myself, I dislike them more than anybody. Because like what? Because it's Christian heresy, and I'm offended by that as a Christian.
Tucker Carlson has said that he despises American Jews who care about October 7th. We, in his words, don't care about America and also want to get his kids killed in a foreign war.
You know, I've got 4 draft-age children. So if you're playing recklessly, fast and loose with their lives, then I have a right to despise you, and I do. So if you're Nikki Haley, who's running for president, or Ben Shapiro, or half the people I see on television casually mentioning the possibility of nuclear war or sending Americans to fight in the Middle East, or in any way involving us in a war that has nothing to do with prosperity and peace at home, nothing, in other words, to do with us, Americans, then I have a right to call you out and be really offended because it's my family. They live here. It's not a joke to me. There's nothing abstract about it.
But most of all, Tucker Carlson acts as an ideological launderer for other people's evils. Tucker Carlson says many inflammatory things, always buying back just enough of it to appear as though he's not saying what he's clearly saying. He's a master of gaslighting. Tucker Carlson, for example, would never say out loud what Nick Fuentes does. He wouldn't say the things many of his guests say. And so instead, he acts as an ideological launderer. He takes other people's hideous ideas, he softens them, he treats them with love and care, and then he provides them with a massive signal boost. He isn't merely talking to people in good faith, of course. He's promoting certain people and ideas and attacking others. So, for example,
I would really like to talk to Tucker Carlson. I don't want to actually go on many people's shows, and I feel like I'm pretty on the record with saying that most people's shows I do not want to go on because I think it'd be a giant waste of my time. I would really, 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 really like to go on Tucker Carlson's show. I don't live that far away from Maine. I can literally drive there like tomorrow if I want, or maybe even today, but it'd be pretty late today. But like, I'm just saying what I'm doing right now is I'm putting this out into the universe that if there is anyone connected with Tucker Carlson, or anyone knows a guy, or anyone has Tucker Carlson's email address, or anyone has Tucker Carlson's phone number and can send him a text and say, hey, Tucker, there's this really interesting woman on YouTube that goes undercover with Antifa, and she's done all this stuff, and maybe you should talk to her because I think she's got a really interesting perspective, and she hates Israel too, and she loved your show with Nick Fuentes, and she has been defending your honor in the faces of, I maybe don't say that, but like really play up like the whole undercover with the Antifa thing, play up the whole Karlyn hates the conservative establishment and she thinks they're lying to people about what's going on in the far left based on all of this work that she's done and research that she's done, and just I'm putting it out into the universe to try to manifest it, because again, there aren't many people's shows that I care to go on. I kind of like being a cult figure. I kind of like being this kind of like, you know about me if you know about me, but it's like people actually have to work to find me, and I kind of want to maintain that, to be honest. But I would really, just like this isn't even about Tucker Carlson's platform. I think it would be fascinating to have a conversation with Tucker Carlson about this particular topic, and I want it. I do. I want it. And so I'm putting this out into the universe. I'm leaving it to you, God. If I am meant to talk to Tucker Carlson, can you please create some coincidences in my life and help me? We are attracting Tucker Carlson to me in the same way that apparently Duncan Trussell was attracted to me, and then he talked about me on Joe Rogan. We are attracting people to me in the same way that Harrison Smith saw a clip I did about the unions, and then he played it on his shows, and I got to go on his show, and that was really cool. We are attracting this like we attracted that Jesse Waters producer who has now had me on twice. We are putting into the universe to manifest the attraction of Tucker Carlson to me so I can go on his show and we can have a really interesting conversation about the far left. I think that would be rad.
Ask a series of wildly obsequious questions to Nick Fuentes. He'll even let Nick Fuentes' support for Joseph Stalin slide.
It's actually funny. It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date to me. And it's Joseph Stalin's birthday.
Oh, jeez.
I'm a fan.
You're a fan of Stalin's?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was an admirer, but we don't need to go into that, I guess.
Let's okay, let's get back. We'll circle back to that.
But he will grill Ted Cruz about the population of Iran. Tucker Carlson will have on Vladimir Putin's evil anti-American mouthpiece, Alexander Dugin, and then praise him.
Alexander Dugin is a 62-year-old Russian academic philosopher. He spent his life in Moscow. He was an anti-Soviet dissident as a young man. And now he is famous the world over, in the English language press anyway, as, quote, Putin's brain. But he is not a political figure here in Russia. He is, once again, a philosopher. And his ideas are deeply offensive to some people. In August of 2022, his only daughter was murdered in Moscow when a car bomb killed her. U.S. intelligence says she was murdered by the Ukrainian government, and we take that at face value. But what's interesting is that, once again, Alexander Dugin is not a military leader. He's not a close daily advisor to Vladimir Putin. He is a writer who writes about big ideas. And for this, his books have been banned by the Biden administration in the United States. You cannot buy them on Amazon. Banning books in the United States because the ideas inside are too dangerous.
I know that.
He's often described, again, in the English language press as far right. We'll let you assess. But we wanted to talk to him about some of his ideas, these ideas that are so dangerous that his only daughter was murdered over them, and his book's been banned in the United States.
Tucker Carlson will have on a Hitler-friendly pseudo-historian to minimize the Holocaust and blame Winston Churchill for World War II.
Wow.
And he will call him America's best and most honest historian.
I thought Churchill was the chief villain of the Second World War. Now, he didn't kill the most people. He didn't commit the most atrocities. But I believe, and I think when you really get into it and tell the story right and don't leave anything out, you see that he was primarily responsible for that war becoming what it did, becoming something other than an invasion of Poland. You know, Germany, look, they put themselves into a position, and Adolf Hitler is chiefly responsible for this, but his whole regime is responsible for it, that when they went into the East in 1941, they launched a war where they were completely unprepared to deal with the millions and millions of prisoners of war, of local political prisoners and so forth that they were going to have to handle. They went in with no plan for that. And they just threw these people into camps, and millions of people ended up dead there.
And that is the pseudo-historian that Tucker Carlson has said is the best and most honest historian in America. Tucker Carlson will have on over and over a pro-Chinese propagandist who used global warming to promote global socialism, all in order to criticize Israel and hug China.
Israel has run American foreign policy in the Middle East for 30 years.
So real.
That's how it works. This is actually the truth. If we drop our
He
angst
blocked you on
on
Twitter. Oh
big
no.
bad Russia, actually, we didn't have a chance to talk about it this time. Maybe another time, big bad China, which is also not going to invade the United States, not going to threaten us, not going to go to war with us. They're trying to deal with aging, and they've got their declining population and many other things. Not that they're falling apart. It's a very impressive civilization, but they're not a threat to the United States, honestly. And Iran is not a threat.
Tucker Carlson, of course, brings on pro-Hamas voices episode after episode after episode. The instances are almost limitless. Tucker Carlson will host Andrew Tate, a pornographer and scam artist who mocks rape victims and preaches a cult of narcissism and cruelty. And of course, Tucker Carlson will glorify him and present him as a maligned truth teller rather than an emblem of moral rot. See, this is how Tucker Carlson's ideological laundering works. You bring your dirty, ugly ideologies to Tucker Carlson's rhetorical car wash. He mixes it with some of the vestigial respect Americans have for him from his Fox News days, and voila, hideous ideas suddenly become mainstream.
Wow.
And then, of course, Tucker denies he said anything controversial at all. He was just asking questions. He was just interviewing people. You don't want him to cancel people, do you? Of course, there is no First Amendment right to a Tucker Carlson sensual massage. But to listen to Tucker, you'd think there was, so long as you despise America, oppose President Trump's foreign policy, and bear a peculiar dislike of Jews. Tucker Carlson, you see, is a coward. And here is where his relationship with Nick Fuentes begins, with Nick Fuentes correctly pointing out that Tucker Carlson is a coward. You see, Tucker Carlson, a few weeks back, had on Candace Owens to treat her to his usual ideological laundering services. That's after years of Candace Owens saying things like this.
I love how people think that if I wear a color that's not black, that I'm dressing up for that. if I do anything that's just like a teeny tiny step above wearing a black t-shirt with the neck ripped out so it like goes like it like anything above a black t-shirt is considered dressing up for you guys. You know, I have a standard for my appearance. It's just a hoodie, man. I'm wearing a hoodie with the shoulders cut out. It's a hoodie. I used to wear this hoodie all the time. I love this hoodie. I recently found this hoodie again. It was buried under a pile of clothes. And now my hair is messed up. My hair looks so 80s lately, though. People are saying my hair is a wig because they're used to seeing pictures of me with short hair. Like, no, it's not. It's actually, it's real. It's real, motherfuckers. It's real. Anyway, okay, let's continue.
And it is the case that dinosaur bones, for whatever reason, are always just found by the paleontologist. Like, it's not like you and me walking outside. I'm like, hey, a dinosaur bone. And, or by somebody who's related to a paleontologist. It's very strange. And then, but it was just convenient for Israel that JFK got shot. It was just convenient, you guys. Totally convenient. It was convenient for Israel, by the way, when the towers went down.
I just want to be clear. Anything happens to me, blame the Zionists. Like 1000% blame the Zionists. Like let that be my parting word. I'm waking people up to the fact that pedophiles are in power. Yes. They are literally in power. And that is intentional because then they can be controlled while they are in power. And they are also exhibiting signs of a psychopathology that lets them know that they will do harm to the masses and feel nothing because they were themselves, many of them raped when they were children. Yep. It is not a coincidence that Justin Trudeau is gay, Obama, gay, Zelensky.
Does anyone kind of love the Candace train wreck that's happening right in front of us, like all the time? I'm not talking about these clips in particular. Listen, I think Candace does some good content. I think that sometimes Candace makes good points. I also think Candace is a massive narcissist and I want nothing to do with her. I also think that Candace is kind of starting to lose it to a certain extent, and she's surrounding herself only with people who disagree, she's surrounding herself with people who agree with her and just reinforce the delusion sometimes, and she's not fact-checking as much stuff as she used to. And so some of it's going like just really off the fucking rails. And I'm really looking forward to the lawsuit between Candace Owens and the First Lady of France. I think that's going to be really fucking great. But it's just like, I have no affinity towards Candace Owens, but I love the fucking spiral. I love the shit show and I support it. And Candace should make as much content on the internet as she wants. And we should sit here and watch a lot of it because and then watch the reaction to it. It's kind of like we're just here for the show, man. And the show is fucking glorious.
Gay. Emmanuel Macron, gay and married to a trans man who molested him when he was a child.
Well, Candace Owens had recently hosted Nick Fuentes, and this led Tucker Carlson, in an attempt to dissociate from Fuentes, to label him a weird little gay kid operating from a basement, and a Fed as well.
That's obvious to me. I've been around a long time. I know it when I see it.
Yeah, and I will say I don't understand it. We were very kind to him. Like, I truly, like, we almost said, like, we felt maybe he was a bit lonely. We should invite him back for dinner. I mean, that's how good of an experience I had.
It's clearly it's
and then
it
was a 180. So it's either A, it's being driven from like a little boy insecurity, and he just was so worried that he like just went on the attack because he doesn't know how to have normal relations after being banned everywhere.
Well, I think there's that
could be one element.
The angry gay kid thing going on. Yeah.
Well, Nick Fuentes did not take kindly to this. After all, here was Tucker Carlson, a man Nick Fuentes correctly sees as a fellow traveler, dismissing him, all the while refusing to say the sorts of things for which Fuentes takes slings and arrows. And so Fuentes unleashed on him as a fraud and also as an expert on gaslighting.
Tucker is like the GOAT of gaslighting. But unironically, he goes up at the memorial and said, Charlie Kirk told the truth. You know who else told the truth? Jesus. And you know what happened? He got killed by Jews. And people said, so are you saying that the Jews killed Charlie Kirk in the way that they killed Jesus for telling the truth because they hate the truth? And Tucker said, I never said that. You're crazy.
Never say
I
that.
I never said that. Everyone eats hummus. Never. What do you mean? Everyone runs Jerusalem. But I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Tucker Carlson says, I have so many trust funds, I never have to work. Tucker went to a $45,000 per year private high school, then a $45,000 per year selective Ivy League school in New England. Tucker Carlson's daddy was a Reagan appointee. And then, after years of bragging about being an elite.
All right, breaking news. I have an announcement. Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. After Enrique Tarrio, Amalek, you're going to fucking love this. After Enrique Tarrio spent 2 days bitching and whining and complaining about me, and after Enrique Tarrio demanded that I change my schedule to go on his show yesterday, and after I told him to fuck off, and then after Enrique Tarrio sent 2 women after me on Twitter to try to annoy me into agreeing to go on his show yesterday, and I told both of them to fuck off because I had other things to do, and then after Enrique Tarrio, one of the women that Enrique Tarrio sent after me, she had a giant fucking hissy fit meltdown because I refused to change my schedule yesterday to go on Enrique Tarrio's show because I really just wasn't fucking interested. After all that happened, the other woman that Enrique Tarrio sent after me slid into my DMs and she started being real fucking nice to me. And she said, if you can't go on Enrique's show today, can you go on another day? And I said, yes, if you guys schedule this like a normal fucking person instead of Enrique Tarrio just posting videos of me and making demands on Twitter, if you actually come to me and say, Karlyn, we can have you on these days, do any of them work for you? I would say yes, and I would go on and be perfectly delightful, as you guys know that I always am perfectly delightful. And so she has now gotten back to me and says, will you come on his show on Friday at 2 p.m.? And I said, yes. This is how scheduling works. If you want to have me on your show, you give me some options for dates and times, and I tell you what fits into my schedule, and then we mutually agree on a specific time and date. And Enrique Tarrio, to the credit of the second woman, who was much less annoying than the first woman, she was very delightful and she was very nice, and she wanted to work out a date. And she did that successfully. So apparently, allegedly, we'll see how this fucking goes. I will be talking to Enrique Tarrio on Friday at 2 p.m. Allegedly. We'll see.
Bragging about being so out of touch and so rich. Now he's going to be the spokesperson for all the white people. Now he's going to roll up his sleeves. I just like to hunt and fish in my log cabin. I care about Klarna and credit card debt. But then when it comes to me, I'm one of the real disaffected white people. You want to talk about me and them? I am them.
Yeah, they figured out how to...
There was one big problem for Tucker Carlson in all of this. Nick Fuentes is absolutely 100% correct. Tucker is a coward, and Tucker's audience, much of which he shares with Nick Fuentes, knows it. And so Tucker hit upon a final stratagem. He let Nick Fuentes cuck him. He brought Nick Fuentes on to legitimate his ideology. He signal boosted Fuentes, glossed him, shined him, presented him to the world, all in order to protect his own reputation with his online base, a base he is competing over with Nick Fuentes. Now, of course, Tucker has a right to do all of this for the 100th time. He can do what he likes. This is America. But there's no question that Tucker has become the most virulent super spreader of vile ideas in America. And the rest of us who oppose those vile ideas have every right to call him that. There's one other element here that's even darker, if possible. Tucker Carlson preys on the friendship he proclaims with others, and then he knifes them directly between the shoulder blades when convenient for him. Tucker Carlson is, in short, a terrible friend. Tucker Carlson was supposedly Charlie Kirk's friend. Charlie believed that Nick Fuentes was vermin. That's a direct quote. He believed that...
Wait, so Tucker Carlson can never talk to anyone Charlie Kirk didn't like? That seems to be a little ridiculous, doesn't it? What if you guys had someone that you knew in your life that after that person died, their widow came to you 6 years later? Maybe that's a bad example. I'm gonna rephrase. Okay, what if you guys had a really best friend your entire life, and that person tragically died, as Charlie Kirk did, and and you guys also had another person that you kind of mutually knew? We're going to call that person Ben, okay? So you got Charlie Kirk, you've got someone that's definitely not Tucker Carlson, and they're actually friends. And then you have this weird guy over here named Ben, and Ben's kind of annoying, but you sometimes keep him around because maybe he has a really nice car or access to dad's like liquor cabinet or something. I don't know, like there's a like he serves some purpose, which is why you allow him to kind of hang around, but you don't really like him or care for him, but you are friends with Ben's friend, or with Ben's friend, which is Charlie Kirk, right? And so what if Charlie Kirk died and this weird guy that no one really likes came in and says, you're not allowed to talk to anyone that Charlie didn't like ever? That seems a little unreasonable to me. I'm just saying.
because Nick Fuentes dedicated his life to destroying Charlie Kirk and TPUSA from the inside. In fact, here's Nick Fuentes describing Charlie Kirk the month before Charlie was murdered.
Charlie Kirk cannot call himself a Christian anymore. Sorry, you forfeited that. I do not want to hear, and you cannot allow Charlie Kirk to go to one more public event, one more question and answer, one more ask me anything, without being protested, without being shouted down, without being interrogated about this. This guy goes around from campus to campus in the most artificial and phony and fake way.
And here is Nick Fuentes describing how he destroyed TPUSA from the inside.
Whether he chooses to confront me or not, whether he has dignity and honor or not, it's just a matter of time. My ideas are already there. I've already impregnated your organization. I took Turning Point USA and I fucked it.
Yes!
I took your organization, I took your baby, Turning Point USA, and I fucked it.
So hot.
And I've been fucking it.
Hot.
And that's why it's filled with groypers. That's why your whole crew, that's why the people around you, that's why your chapter presidents, that's why your attendees, they're all groypers.
And here's Nick Fuentes calling Charlie Kirk unpatriotic and talking about how he's a retarded idiot and saying all firepower should be focused on Charlie Kirk.
I think a lot of people are starting to find out Charlie Kirk is not the patriot that he says he is. And so I look at what happened last night and I think to myself, this is totally a doable operation. You know, Charlie Kirk in the grand scheme of things is just some retarded idiot. The dog is terrified. I had to go upstairs and reassure him because I'm screaming at my screen, calling Charlie Kirk a bitch and everything. The contrast could not be more clear. Charlie Kirk is a totally unexceptional human being. A moral struggle that's happening on the higher dimension, right? Which is Christ versus the devil. Who does Charlie Kirk serve? You know, is he really a Christian? Is he really Christ-like when he supports foreign wars and Israel and all this? Look at the people he's taking money from. You know, so the guy's a fake Christian. The guy's not a patriot. He hates our country. He's un-American. Let's focus all our firepower on Charlie Kirk. Why are we doing this? It's because Charlie Kirk is a fake patriot, a fake Christian, and he hates his people. He's anti-white. This is our angle.
Nick Fuentes despised Charlie Kirk. And for good reason, because Charlie Kirk actually opposed Nick's evil program. Here's what Charlie Kirk had to say about Nick Fuentes' agenda.
But if you go back to the original founding fathers, they intended this to be a European nation for white men of good stock and character. Yes.
So, can you show me, let me answer the question. Can you show me where in the United States Constitution it says that?
It wasn't in the Constitution.
It wasn't in the Constitution because they didn't believe it.
The founding...
What does the phrase e pluribus unum mean? What does the phrase e pluribus unum mean?
Why is that relevant?
Because it was on every founding document and presidential seal from our founding, which means out of many, one. You, sir, and your ideology is not conservative. It is right-wing, identitarian, and has no place in the conservative movement, my friend. Get out of line. Get out of line.
Wow.
I don't platform trolls, and I don't platform and I don't discuss people or I don't debate with people that are not good faith actors. And
you debate Maoists and people who champion.
They can keep on yelling at how successful we are and our big events and well over 1,000 employees, but there's a lot of jealousy out there. We build, they complain. We succeed, we win. They blame the Jews.
After Charlie's death, TPUSA made Tucker Carlson one of its chief faces. Tucker, of course, spoke at Charlie's memorial, where he implied that hummus-eating nefarious Jews killed Charlie, with no mention of the ideology of the actual alleged murderer, who was, of course, a trans activist gay furry.
He was
Tucker
not a
Carlson, in fact, has spent more time talking about Jews and Israel since Charlie's death than about the Trans-Tifa ideology that motivated Charlie Kirk's killer. By a long shot, it's not close, which is not a surprise, since he seems to spend very little time these days attacking anyone on the left. Well, now Tucker Carlson has seen fit to launder Nick Fuentes, the person who hated Charlie most and who wished him destruction. That's not an act of friendship. It's an act of sick evil. And then, of course, there's Tucker Carlson's relationship with the vice president. Certainly, Vice President Vance has been quite generous with Tucker Carlson. That loyalty was not reciprocated last week, to say the least. Here, for example, is what Nick Fuentes has said about J.D. Vance's wife, Usha.
Andrew Tate and Bronze Age pervert and all these people, for years, all they talk about is going to the gym, being a vitalist, fighting the Matrix, India smells bad, all this kind of shit. And now they're all in favor of a fat race mixer who's married to a Jeet who named his son Vivek, who was mentored by a Jewish neocon and a gay Fed, Peter Thiel. This guy has a non-white wife and a kid named Vivek. This guy is going to be a defender of white identity? I don't think so. This guy's going to defend American identity?
You slammed J.D. Vance for having an Indian wife. Yet Trump's wife is an immigrant who was working here illegally for a time. His son is half foreign, bilingual, and holds dual citizenship. Yet you give him a pass. You're either a hypocrite or just retarded.
She's white. Dude, she's white. If we had millions of Slovenian supermodels immigrating to America, I don't think we'd have a big problem with it.
Tucker Carlson had on Nick Fuentes and did not ask him a single question about any of this. He just brought him on.
There you go. We got a number 2 in the chat with a super chat. In Brett Cooper's video analyzing the Jewish coalition, she gives Randy Fine expert advice to just move to Israel already. You'll clearly be happier. Yeah, I totally saw a clip of that and I was like, ooh, she's taking off the leash after leaving the Daily Wire, isn't she? Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
To launder his ugly ideas and make him more popular. That doesn't seem quite like the act of a friend. Which, finally, brings us to the Heritage Foundation. Now, I have a long and admiring relationship with the Heritage Foundation. One of the very first outlets to pick up my syndicated column when I was 17 years old, 24 years ago, was townhall.com, then a property of the Heritage Foundation. I know most of the leadership very well, and I have for decades. I know Kevin Roberts, and I like him, and I'm grateful for his contributions to the conservative movement. If you're a regular watcher of this show, you can check the interview I did with Kevin on the release of his book just last December. Which is why what Kevin Roberts did last week is tragic and awful. He put out a statement that Heritage Foundation didn't just stand by Tucker Carlson. Kevin instead said openly and repeatedly that Tucker Carlson can do nothing, ever, that will sever his relationship with the conservative movement. He said that after and in defense of Tucker's glossing of Hitler defender Nick Fuentes. And he added that only members of the globalist class, direct quote, a venomous coalition, direct quote, subject to the dictates of someone else's agenda, direct quote, oppose Heritage's ongoing relationship with Tucker Carlson, which means that according to Kevin Roberts, apparently, anyone opposing the ongoing mainstreaming of Tucker Carlson is acting on behalf of a foreign power. Kevin's statement is a betrayal of the Heritage Foundation's history and principles, which is presumably why both Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes loved it. And that's a tragedy, because America needs a robust conservative organization based on principle and ideas, not personal loyalty to bad actors like Tucker Carlson. We need strong leaders in the conservative movement willing to speak out against the moral rot that threatens our future. I hope Kevin Roberts and Heritage show us that they can still be those leaders. But if not, we'll have to look elsewhere.
Oh, you, right?
Why is all
You,
of this
Ben,
happening?
right?
Because, like the Democratic Party, the Republican Party is being eaten by its radicals. Many in the political class are too cowardly to stand up. Apparently, they're willing to play footsie with Groypers and hug Tucker Carlson out of fear of somehow losing support. They've been bamboozled by the lies of the X algorithm and the TikTok metrics. The left followed its radicals to electoral hell. Apparently, many on the right wish to do the same. Forget the morality, then, for just a moment. Let's be pragmatic. Here is the thing. Americans hate Nick Fuentes' philosophy. They think it's trash. Republicans, by the polling, think it's trash. Independents think it's trash. Democrats think it's trash. And here's the other thing.
Ben
Americans
is giving us a wish
hate
list
Tucker
here.
Carlson's laundered anti-Americanism. Republicans think it's trash. Independents think it's trash. Democrats think it's trash. Americans are not pro-segregation, pro-rape, anti-woman, pro-child marriage, anti-black, anti-Jew, anti-Indian, anti-Latino, anti-Constitution, pro-Hitler nutjobs like Nick Fuentes. And Americans are not pro-Putin, pro-Iran, pro-China, pro-Venezuela, pro-Hamas, pro-Fuentes, pro-Tate idiots like Tucker Carlson.
Might be surprised.
They hate this vile garbage. If Republicans decide to cower before the likes of neo-Nazis and their propagandizers, they deserve to lose. And they will lose. Neo-Nazis and their propagandizers are not Republicans. They are not America First. They are not MAGA. They sure as hell aren't conservative. These people aren't to my right. They're not attached in any way to the fundamental principles of conservatism.
They are actually.
And these people have already declared themselves to be my enemies. I'd be a fool not to take them seriously. If they get their way, they will hollow out the Republican Party, lead it to electoral catastrophe, and empty it and the country of any semblance of decency in the process. My answer is no. No to the Groypers. No to their publicists like Tucker Carlson. No to those who champion them. No to demoralization. No to bigotry and anti-meritocratic horse shit. No to anti-Americanism. No. This is our country. This is our party. And this is our conservative movement. And I will not stand by while it is handed over to those who betray the most fundamental principles I have spent my entire life defending and advocating. That is a path to defeat and a path to moral oblivion. I reject it because if we lose the right, we will lose to the left. And either way, we'll lose the country. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show.
Wow, Ben. Wow, that was a massive fuck off hissy fit. Because you don't like that two people you disagree with because they don't support Israel had a conversation that you didn't have to watch. And the reason that Ben Shapiro is so pissed off is because a lot of people did watch it. In fact, a lot more people watched the conversation with between Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes than watched Ben Shapiro's response to the Tucker Carlson Nick Fuentes interview. We've got, let's see here, 5.3 million views on the Tucker Carlson Nick Fuentes conversation compared to 634,000 views on Ben Shapiro's response. We have 236,000 likes compared to 24,000 likes on Ben Shapiro's response. And we have 5,300 dislikes compared to almost 19,000 dislikes on Ben Shapiro's response. And so Ben wants to whine and complain and say, no one even, this is what the MAGA retards have been doing to me for like the last week, by the way. The thing the MAGA retards like to say to me is they say, no one even likes you and no one wants you around. Ben Shapiro is saying to Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, no one even likes you and no one wants you around. Why don't you just go away? Why don't you just shut up? Why don't you just stop talking? We don't like you. We don't want you in our clubhouse. You can't sit with us. Well, based on the numbers alone, I'm pretty sure that there are people who want to sit with Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. And it seems as though there are more people who want to sit with Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes than want to sit with Ben Shapiro. And, you know, Ben and no amount of Ben saying, no one likes him, no one likes him, no one likes him. They all like me. They don't like them. No amount of Ben Shapiro saying that is actually going to change the fact that it kind of seems like there are way more people who want to sit with Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes than want to sit with Ben Shapiro. And that's really the big problem here, isn't it? That's really the big problem is Ben Shapiro wants the darling, wants the person that could do no wrong, wants the person that you didn't want to cross, wants the person that tried to assassinate Nick Fuentes' career before his career even got started. I mean, the massive irony of this whole thing is Ben Shapiro is the person that literally tried to assassinate Nick Fuentes' career when Nick Fuentes was 18 years old. And I think that this is a really important lesson that how long did Nick have to wait for redemption? Nick had to wait almost a decade for redemption. But what did Nick do in the meantime? Ben Shapiro tried to end his career. He spread all these lies about him. Ben Shapiro's friends tried to end Nick Fuentes' career. They spread all these lies about him. They have been clipping him out of context for years and years and years. Ben Shapiro and his friends have been delivering those clips to leftist media outlets to use against them because they have no actual real values. They have been trying to stop Nick for years. And what did Nick just do? Nick just kept his head down. Well, he didn't keep his head down. He said whatever the fuck he wanted, but he built his own show. He built his own platform, and Nick has had his ups and downs as well, man. Nick got totally fucked after January 6th, and we all know that. but he just kept going and he just kept pushing. And I gotta say, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, I disagree with Nick Fuentes on some things. Obviously, I'm not a Christian, and I will never be a Christian. I don't actually care if the Groypers are Christians though, or Catholics. Like, I think people should be able to believe whatever they want. So it doesn't bother me that we disagree on that point. But what I will say is I will never, ever, ever, and listen, man, I am friends with people that Nick doesn't like, and I am friends with people that don't like Nick. So like sometimes I get in these situations where people are pissed off that I say this, but I will say it like it clearly, and I will say it every single time we watch anything related to Nick on this channel. I will never throw Nick Fuentes under the bus. I will never be disloyal to Nick Fuentes, no matter how many Groypers in my feed because they don't like I'm not a Catholic, no matter how many insults they hurl at me, I just block them and move on. It doesn't really matter because Nick Fuentes, like, this kid has put up with so much bullshit, and he came out on top. After at long last, he came out on top. And I find it to be incredibly inspiring, and I don't mind saying that some of the things we've done in my community are directly based off of things that Nick and the Groypers have done, because Nick and the Groypers are highly, 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 highly effective. So I would be stupid to not copy them. I would be stupid to not implement their tactics when they're being highly, 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 highly effective. Well, I don't think that Nick Fuentes is ever. I mean, come on, can we stop being retarded for a second? Nick Fuentes might not like my spiritual beliefs. Nick Fuentes isn't going to burn me alive. Nick Fuentes isn't going to take anyone out. Come on. That's like one of the most retarded things that I've ever heard before. It was a joke. It was a joke on the internet made by a young man who likes to joke on the internet, and that's really all it was. So Nick won, Ben Shapiro lost, and I'm here for it because I think it's real entertaining. And I love watching the rise of Nick. I really do. I just, like, again, I said this the other day, but I'll say it again. Like, I feel very proud of Nick because, which is kind of condescending, but I don't mean it that way. Like, I just really, I'm very, very happy for him. I'm very happy for him the way things have turned out, because it could have easily gone in a very different direction. Everyone understands that, right? And I really hope that he's enjoying this time, and I really hope that he feels every ounce of vindication that he should feel after he spent 10 years having people like Ben Shapiro try to destroy his career, and now Ben Shapiro's whining into the ether and no one really cares because Nick is the leader of the conservative right, and that's just the way it is. All right. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. Listen, guys, if there is something going on at the ICE facilities tonight, I might be back for protest coverage. I also might not be back for protest coverage because it's my anniversary, so maybe I won't be back for protest coverage. But like, if there is something going on tonight, I will be keeping an eye out. I would like to start doing protest coverage again at night because I personally enjoy that, and I think you guys enjoy it too, and it's good knitting time. And if there's not something going on tonight, then I'll be back tomorrow. And that's just the way it is. But thank you guys for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I had a great time. I hope you had a great time too. And I will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. Oh, no, wait. I will be not. No. I will. Hang on. Wait. I won't be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Hang on. Wait a second. I will be back tomorrow at around 2:45 p.m. Maybe even a little earlier, because tomorrow Adam Green and I are teaming up for an early stream to watch Adam King interview James Lindsay about his trip to Israel. So come join us tomorrow. We definitely aren't going to be causing problems in Adam King's chat. We love Adam King. We like him a lot. He's a nice guy. But I think Adam King's going to like the additional chat that we offer him. I think Adam King's going to get a kick out of it. It's going to be fun. All right. Yeah, it's the Adamception. It's the Adamception. Yep, it's going to be fun. All right.
How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you?
That's difficult to answer. eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital. That's difficult to answer.